What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Megidolaon podcast. I am Gnarly, and I am here with Simply Dad, Gab Mew, Maka, and our good friend Spencer from the SMT Network podcast.
I paid $500 to be here plus tax, and I'm still not sure if it's worth it.
No, I paid you $500.
Well, because of our main topic, that was what I was elating to, you know, because I bought that Xbox Series X you guys all wanted me to talk.
The Xbox.
Okay.
Yeah, the Xbox, dude. Got to have that disc slot.
The X-Sex.
It's the only console
Bro, X
so you can play
XX.
SSX Tricky on in the year 2020. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's true.
That was a solid opening, boy. I'm glad none of that's getting edited out.
Yeah. Alright, so what is up, everybody? It has been quite a while since our last episode, and the main reason I delayed this episode is because I wanted to do it till after the PS5 was out so that I could talk about just what I think of the PS5, and it's also one of the reasons I got Spencer on here because I think he's the only person in this call that actually got a PS5 on day one.
I'm going to actually do that just because this is a weird thought experiment. I want to see how well I know all four of you guys.
Okay.
I'm going to guess why all four of you guys don't have a PS5, and let me know how close I am. So obviously, Gnarly, you're a little bit easy, just in the sense of like you want one eventually, but you're just gonna wait till either they get cheaper or there's something you super duper want.
Yeah, because there's nothing I super duper want right now. Not that I can't play on the PS4 anyway.
Mac, I'm assuming it's half you can't find one in half money.
Damn, he called you brother.
I mean, money is always going to be a factor, but actually, no. I haven't really looked for one.
Okay, alright. So that's good, though. It's a depressing game if you're trying to look, let me tell you.
Oh, I've heard.
I'm just actually I'm a little bit more, like, kind of split down the middle. I'm going to guess you don't super want one, and it's like half you don't really care, and half there's nothing you want to play.
You talking about me?
Someone else to buy it for me.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's the smarter. That's the 2020 plan. I get that. Dad, and I'm just gonna guess, like in general, you just think console gaming sucks.
I just don't care.
Yeah,
I fucking hate video games. Video games are the worst thing on a fucking human existence.
says the man with 200 plus gigs of Catherine footage on his PC. God, I hate video games.
Just spoil it, why don't you? Cut that
spoil-
out. Cut the tape. Cut the tape.
Someone's gonna be like, dude, Dad's playing Catherine? Does this mean Catherine's a certified classic? CCC?
Yeah.
His favorite game is Minecraft.
Certified Hood Classic.
Classic. Yeah.
Hey, same joke.
Not a joke, it's a lifestyle, baby.
Hell yeah.
Roll on with it, Gnarly. What next?
Okay, so basically, Spencer and I are pretty much the only people in this call that have actually got to play the PS5. And, yeah, so basically what Spencer said is true. It's like, it's not that I'm too poor, it's just, I'm not really sure if I want to drop $500 on one right now, because there's nothing I super duper want for it. But, like, from what I played of it on, like, what I did on Spencer's PS5, you know, I think it's a really cool console, and it's got some pretty awesome features. And, yeah.
Okay, so, like, I have to ask you this, because, like, I actually hope the rest of you three kind of ask us some questions about it, because I've not had a lot of experience really getting to talk with people about just, like, the system or, like, what's on there right now, outside of, like, how's Astrobot or how's Demon Souls? But, like, nearly one of the weirdest things about this console is I think its best-selling feature is the DualSense. Like, I think that controller is straight up, like, the best controller on the market right now.
Yeah,
but what makes it so good is, like, describing it is weird, because it's like, okay, it's HD Rumble, but it works, and its triggers give you feedback is kind of hard to sell. Like, I showed my friend some footage of even just like how shooters work differently, or just like the weird resistance you get with like Astrobots, and it's like, so it just looks like it's harder to pull, or the triggers vibrate, and it's like, no, because it's a different feeling. Because like when you were playing Astrobot, that feeling of like even just grabbing stuff as the monkey, like that, it doesn't feel like it's just vibrating, like that's an actual pressure.
Yeah.
Spoiler. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I mean,
Astrobot spoil. Gab, I'm not gonna lie. I yelled at Gnarly because he was actually spoiling himself for Astrobot Easter eggs. When he started like seeing that there's PlayStation references in there, he's like, "All right, immediately look up if there's anything Persona related for Easter eggs." And I was like, "What are you doing? Like, who spoils the Easter eggs?" I was so shook by this that a man would spoil Easter eggs for himself willingly.
I mean, you know, he likes Persona 3 and Devil Survivor, so clearly he has no concept of fun.
okay, says the guy who likes Persona 4.
I don't like it.
Devil Survivor 2.
I tolerate it. I don't think it's as bad as everybody else says it is.
Okay, so it's
I
a
like
timeless
Persona
classic.
4.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, like I mean, I haven't like used the controller enough for me to confidently say it's the best PlayStation controller, but I can say I think it's better than the PS4 controller.
That's not saying much. PS4 controller.
Oh, that's no, dude. For like the last generation, the PS4 controller was the best. Like outside of its terrible battery life,
What
like
the fuck is the content? Like competition? Like Xbox One controller, that piece of plastic that you look at it in the wrong direction, the shit
I
falls
thought the Pro
apart.
controller was
The
better.
Switch controller that's all doo-doo and shit. Joy-Cons, Pro controller.
Excuse me, Switch is actually current gen. Last gen was Wii U.
Oh no, Wii U.
Oh, okay.
I'm one of those like terrible people that like I actually vehemently hate playing on on a Switch Pro controller. I guess same goes for Wii U. But like if I had to pick, my preferred way to play Switch is just only Joy-Cons. Like if I'm not playing on Joy-Cons, I most likely hate playing on it. Not counting the GameCube just because that's so weird.
Yeah.
So that blows my mind because I don't use the Joy-Cons unless I really need to, for the fact that I know that Joy-Con drift is so prevalent. So
Oh yeah, no, yeah, that's the worst part because yeah, you're totally right.
I
Like
feel
the controllers have total flaws to them, but like just I can't get around enjoying holding the Pro controller. Like, they always just feel so like awkward
it
to
feels
me.
wonky to have like them separate. I don't know.
am I the
But
only
anyway, what I was gonna get at was the one thing I do like about the Pro controller is that it lasts like 40 hours, and like from what I've seen, the PlayStation 5 controller only lasts like 10, and I'm just like, come on guys, really? That's the best you got? That's the best
Well,
you can do?
The context for that is it all depends on what the controller is doing. So if you're playing a game like Astrobot, yeah, it's going to last like 8 to 10 hours, but Astrobot literally is always making noise, like whether you're walking, shaking, or like vibrating. But like, for example, playing something
The
like...
controller does that.
Well, yeah, and also, it's all optional. If you don't ever want the controller to like be a microphone, vibrate, or even give the trigger resistance, you can always turn that off, and then that'll save your battery. Like with it all off, like I've gotten somewhere between like 15 to 20 hours out of a battery life, which like is still more than fine for like when I'm 10 feet away from the system to charge it.
Yeah. But like what I was gonna say about like the whole like, you know, like rumble and motion features in Astrobot, it's something I can see maybe like a few games using, but for the most part, I don't think most games are gonna use it.
So I think the question I want to ask is if you played like an actual video game that's like fun with the PS5 controller, like Call of Duty or some shit.
Astro's Playroom.
Well, yeah, Astro is a just fun ass game, but do not forget you have played and died in Demon's Souls, so you're now a real gamer.
Yeah.
How?
Both
I mean, does
versions now.
that shit do anything special with it or what?
Not that I noticed, but I only played it for
Yeah,
like
this is
maybe
what I was
20 or
kinda
30
thinking,
minutes.
it's probably just like a few select games that are gonna get like niche things
Yeah.
that happen with them.
That's the thing I'm wondering, because we're so early into this generation. I actually think, depending on the reception behind it, and I know a lot of people who have been playing it really dig it. Like most of the third-party stuff out right now, people are really enjoying it, and like I think the fact that once we sort of get away from launch, depending on how it's used, because like yeah, it's not surprising that stuff like Call of Duty uses it, or or Dirt, and all the first party stuff is a given. But I think look at more obscure stuff. The fact that Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 uses it in a different way to the PS4 version. I remember when I was previewing it, I was like, wow, like someone actually like put the effort to make the vibrations feel different in a puzzle game. Like I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of questioning, like, why aren't you guys talking about the real, like, game that people actually care about?
Bugsnax.
Why the heck aren't you talking about Bugsnax?
I get asked that a lot, like why I don't have it or like why I'm not playing it, especially because it's on PS Plus for free. So like I don't have PlayStation Plus just because like I never really need to pay for online, let alone do I need more games. But I have the weirdest reason. The only reason I don't have Bugsnax is because I'm waiting for the physical version to arrive. I know I'm gonna love Bugsnax, like I love Young Horses as games, and it's like that'd be a cool one to have a boxed copy of. So when that got announced, I was like, I have no reason to like download it at launch.
Yeah, I get that. I like with Bugsnax, I've always just like literally from the moment it was announced, I like once the trailer finished, the words immediately out of my mouth were, "That's not real. This is lying to me." And the second trailer comes around, because the first trailer was just like, "Come on, come check out these weird food bugs, and like you can eat them, and you can like turn them in your body parts into food. Wow, this is so weird. Come on, let's have some fun." And then the second trailer opens up with, "Someone's gone missing," and it's like, yeah, okay, that's why I figured. But outside of that, I didn't think too much of it. I just figured like, yeah, this is hiding something. And then now I'm hearing like, oh, this game, like people are like talking about it, and it's like apparently like good, not amazing, but like good.
I mean, out of the most like discussed PS5 launch titles, and I'd even say like just next gen stuff in general, considering Xbox, I think the fact that it is getting as much word of mouth as stuff like and whatnot is pretty commendable.
Yeah, like I think the fact that it's free, it's like the same thing with
Fall Guys.
Resogun.
Fall Guys. Same thing with Fall Guys, where like I'm positive the only reason Fall Guys really even did as well as it did is because it was free on PlayStation. Though it still blew up for other reasons. Yeah. I think a major contributing factor was the fact that it was free for anyone with PS Plus.
Yeah, well, like what happened was it was free on PS Plus, and then people were talking about how much they liked it, so then it started selling really well on PC too.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, actually, at least for Fall Guys, just in because it's a weird case, it did have like many years of going to PAX, going to conventions, and actually, even if you go back to its pre-release during their like betas their betas were like record-setting betas. Like they had a lot of hype even before PlayStation Plus. But obviously, yeah,
well,
like having that many millions. Well, yeah, but like, are you really looking up what Devolver Digital's publishing on a monthly basis?
No.
There you go. So it's like it's a different ecosystem, but like it definitely was feeding in on both ends of like it's doing super well on PC and obviously the millions and millions of PlayStation Plus users out there.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, PS5.
Bugsnax.
Yeah, everything I'm hearing is just like it's a good game. It's the kind of thing that just wouldn't last that like.
Well, my question for you then, because almost all of us here have PS4s. Or at least just because you brought it up, Mac, why are you not then wanting to play it on PS4?
Because I'm actually genuinely not that interested in Bugsnax. I'm interested in like a cursory like this is kind of fascinating to me, but I really don't actually care to play it.
I get
Something
that.
to say about Bugsnax. I will say
Yeah.
those kinds of games make me want to smash my head against a wall over and over and over.
First-person puzzles or like the art style?
Just like the happy, like whatever the fuck. It just makes me uncomfortable. It's like talking to insane people.
I like how the way the first hour or so was described to me, where you go to the island where like all you know is this person invited you out there, and then you find out they've gone missing, and like you're just kind of playing, and you're everything's happy-go-lucky, and then eventually one character that you help, he ends up like getting into a fight with his wife, saying like you're the reason we got divorced, and it just gets super real. It's like I like that description. That's funny. But otherwise, it's just one of those things where it's like this is a weird game. Like I'm fascinated by it, but I don't really want to play it. But it's like weird.
It's a steep like asking price too, because I think it's $25, and even though it's like around $8 to $10 hours to beat it. I think a game like Bugsnax is definitely like, once you kind of get into that price range, it's like, it's good that it's free, at least on consoles. Just that thing of like, I don't think a lot of people would want to dunk that much money into a launch game unless they were getting it for free, because even the word of mouth about it isn't like, oh my god, you got to play Bugsnax, it's like the best thing ever. It wasn't like a Resogun. Like, remember when everyone had their PS4 and everyone had Resogun, and it was like, dude, play Resogun, it's free and it's amazing. Like, I think that game is actually Astro, because I have not talked to a single person who has played Astro and it's like, it's not for me. It's like, there's at least something to love about that game.
Yeah. Or Wii Sports.
Wii Sports.
Oh yeah, Wii Sports.
I don't know like why I have like no nostalgia for Wii Sports, of like, because we were talking about this when you were over. It was like, yeah, like I played Wii Sports, but like I was like, as soon as I picked it up, I was never ready to like make that my go-to. Let me show off the Wii. It was always like Twilight Princess, for whatever reason, was my let me show off the Wii game. And like Astrobot is definitely that game for me of just like, here, hold the controller and just kind of run around for a little bit and you'll immediately get it.
Yeah, but I mean, Twilight Princess was also on the GameCube.
True, but remember, there was like that month of where it was like kind of only there. And like, yeah, obviously, if you go back to it, yes, the way you're fishing is no more gratifying than doing a controller, but like in the launch hype of the Wii, like fishing in Twilight Princess is just one of those weird things ingrained into my head of like, yeah, I loved fishing in Twilight Princess.
I don't know, maybe for Wii Sports, maybe it's because like once we got it, it was like something that everyone could play. It's like it's something the whole family wanted to play.
It's something people can get their heads around much better than something a bit more complex like Zelda, because Zelda at the very least requires you to be able to move around a 3D space.
Yeah.
While with Wii Sports, you really don't have to do any moving around yourself.
You basically just swing the Wii remote. I mean, I remember. Well, my dad got it. He got it for me for Christmas. So when I went back to my mom, I took it home, and then my dad was like, "Oh, I'm thinking about getting my own for Wii Sports." I'm like, "But you fucking hate video games." And he was like, "Oh, well, I want to get it for Wii Sports."
That's why this is the Wii sold like over 100 million copies because of people like Gnarly's parents.
Yeah. But yeah, what were you gonna say?
I think of like Tomb Raider, and I think of what is it? And yeah, Wii Sports mainly because I used to play bowling a lot with my friends, and we used to download like Mii's online and stuff.
Oh yeah. I also remember messing around in the Everybody Votes channel.
Oh god, yeah.
That was such the weirdest channel. I remember when that came out, because it's just like it's like nothing here is like there's nothing here of any real substance. It was just this thing that happened, and like people talk. It's just kind of funny because even I would look into that, even though it's like, why exactly am I coming here?
Yeah. Well, it's the background music. That's what.
Oh yeah.
In fact, I'm probably gonna put the background music for that as the background music for this podcast, or one of the background musics anyway. But
the Wii had really good music.
Yeah.
But, all of its like stuff.
Yeah. But before we move on, have any of you guys had a chance to play the Xbox Series X yet?
Who the fuck wants to play the Xbox Series X?
Not me.
I did. That's an interesting system. I was going to say fun. It's interesting.
Well, how?
So the Xbox.
Well, what's it like to have a next gen console that doesn't have any exclusives?
For starters, depending on if you have a PC, technically it does have exclusives, but obviously your mileage may vary when you're boasting stuff like, hey, do you want to play Gears Tactics? Or what I honestly would consider is a cool thing is that Microsoft at least paid the money to get a next-gen exclusive with Yakuza. So like the fact that I've played Yakuza on PS4 and then saw Yakuza on Xbox is like, yeah, it is noticeably better. It does look prettier. It does load better. I think they are doing a lot of stuff that PlayStation's not trying to do, but they're definitely doing stuff like better.
I mean, I looked at a comparison for Cold War on the PS4 versus the PS5. There is literally no difference.
Can I stop you for a quick
screenshot
second? I wanna have like a small discussion with you guys. Spencer said it's an exclusive if you do not have a PC. By that logic, Kingdom Hearts 3 is an Xbox One exclusive if you do not have a PS4.
Well, I think it is more fair to prioritize consoles because, PCs, even a Switch game isn't exclusive because then you could just emulate a Switch on there.
No, I just think it's fucking funny.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a viable thing for it, but like I'm coming from it in the thing of I hate playing games on the PC. If I'm not working on my computer, I never want to play a video game on my computer. So like stuff like stuff that is like on computers along with Xbox, I don't think it takes away from it being on there. Just how like even stuff like Horizon, just because Horizon and Death Stranding are on PC doesn't take it away that they were PS4 exclusives.
Yeah,
but
the thing is, it's like, why would it's like, I mean, if I'm trying to decide on which platform to get, like, why would I get an Xbox One when I can play literally every Xbox One and Xbox Series X game on PC?
Because I guarantee you that if you bought $500 worth of improvements for your computer, it would still not look as good as $500 on an Xbox Series X, and you take out all the hassle of having to upgrade your computer.
I mean, maybe
that is why people play consoles.
But I mean, at least my laptop, I use it for stuff besides gaming.
Oh no!
So you're gonna need a PC anyway.
I'm just saying, like for games, there is no $500 upgrade you could do to anyone's PC that would put them up to specs that the PS5 or Xbox have.
Okay.
That is just the truth.
Okay, well that makes sense. For now.
Oh yeah, but I mean, obviously too, like these are all based off a lot of AMD chips that like just came out.
Yeah.
And like if you look at the price of those chips, or even just look at the new Nvidia chips, like $500 for an Nvidia card are not going to get you 4K 120 games.
Yeah. All right.
I like to play my PC for VR chat and Half-Life Alex.
I am going to kick you from this chat.
Hey, I actually do want to give one last little shout out, just because I do think this was really cool. Microsoft got this as an exclusive. Tetris Effect Connected's multiplayer is exclusive to Xbox for a while, and it's free on Game Pass. That's one I'm genuinely jealous I don't have, just because I really, really love Tetris Effect.
Nice.
VR chat's horrible. Do you actually play that shit, Mac?
Yeah.
Oh my god. So
All right.
Mark got me into playing that. It is the worst thing in the universe. All we do is play Among Us on there and bully kids. It's the greatest thing.
Can we like move on, please?
Damn.
Sure.
Damn.
See, this is what happens generally when you try to dunk on a system none of us have.
Yeah, I guess
We want to talk about the positives.
Okay, so okay, next topic is the supposed leak / early announcement or whatever for Persona 5 Scramble in English, because it's appeared on a few Asian storefronts. It's appeared on storefronts in Singapore and I think in Pakistan, I think. Okay.
It has appeared through various third-party retailers, but like I don't know how much you want to get into this. I'm basically just gonna like keep biting my tongue because like
in Indonesia, that's where.
But like this topic, it's so weird to me because obviously Scramble hits very close to home, as I think it's safe to say I am probably the #1 most vocal simp for that game, at least out of people who play it. But stuff like this gets me really infuriated of people being like, oh my god, it's announced because of this financial report, of oh my god, it's announced because Koei Tecmo talked about it, or oh my god, it's canceled because they didn't, or now with like, oh my gosh, look, it's Asian English version went up for pre-orders. Of like, I know that like people don't probably obviously follow other franchises as closely as they do if they're super into Persona. Like I made a tweet about this. These like pre-orders happen all the time, and one of the closest comparisons we have is like, seriously, you remember 7 months ago when it said that there was going to be a English version of Persona 5 Royal releasing in Asia with English subtitles in like for the Chinese version, and then like the very last minute
took it down.
Right. Yeah, like these errors happen all the time because when you're doing a multi-languaged Asian release, you are trying to take as many boxes as possible, and so often than not, like these errors just kind of happen. And like I've also told people this, like, hey, it is also possible that this is not an error and an announcement's coming, but there's no point in getting hyped of the chance because of it happening. Because like, trust me, chance of an Asian English version happening before the official English version is so tiny. Obviously, it would be the most hilarious karmatic justice that this game deserves in its cursed announcement or unannouncement life. But like, I just wish I knew why everyone looks at are just grasping at straws when they see news stories for Scramble and just think, oh, it's announced. This is official now. It's official now.
That we just, I'm like, you don't know that. It's not going to be announced until Atlus USA announces it.
Spencer, I can tell you why they do this.
Because they're desperate.
One, because I want it. Two, because it's clickbait.
Oh yeah, obviously, when I see people talking about it on Twitter, I'm not going to get mad at someone thinking, oh, is it announced? Is it not announced? Because, you're basically in one of two camps with Scramble. You either know what's happening with it, or you are honestly justifiably forgiven if you think it's either not been announced or has already been announced. Because, there are so many people out there I've talked to who think, oh, it's canceled because it's been so long, or, oh, it's forever ago, wasn't it? And it's just really, frustrating because, what is it? It's just so frustrating because then you'll have these things of, and I've told people about this a lot, by the time Atlus finally announces this game, it's literally just going to be the world's largest collective eye roll. There's nothing they're going to do to announce this game where people are going to be like, oh, sweet, this was worth it, guys. This was worth 500 plus days of waiting.
Yeah. I mean, I played the demo, I loved it, so I think I'm gonna like it, but I don't really think it's gonna I don't think it's gonna be a revolutionary game or anything. Unless they're doing what they did with Yakuza 7, where they're putting it on, next gen and Xbox.
Now with everything that's kind of been going on, especially after my last couple of videos, I've been working on playing the backwards compatible versions. It's really interesting, not only because within the first launch week of PS5, Koei Tecmo has actually patched it so that it runs better on PS5, but what's so funny is there's now stuff out there. Devs can't really officially talk about it yet. I think it's a couple of NDAs, but it's really interesting that Sony, when it comes to backwards compatible games, won't let devs have games run at 120. If they run at 60, even if they're uncapped, they won't let it go past. Just for something about it, Sony is no, don't make your PS4 games that much better. Whereas on Xbox, it's hey, whatever. If you play Rocket League, the Xbox One version on Series X now is a 120 or so. Warzone, I actually just found this out. Did you know that Warzone on Series X, you can play it in 120, but if you play it on PS5, for no reason, it's still stuck at 60.
Why?
It's because Sony doesn't want backwards compatible versions to be that much better. They want there to be a reason for you to make a native PlayStation 5 version, because the more PlayStation 5 versions exist, the more games are on there. You don't want to, in Sony's head, saying that we have 10,000 something games if you include PS4 at launch, that doesn't sound cool to them. That sounds like you're relying on old games. Whereas Microsoft is hey man, we don't care what you play, it's going to be powerful, even if it's because smart delivery for them is a really big crutch. A great example is, I think we're all aware of, with Yakuza 7, if you played it on Xbox One or PC, your save is going to transfer from PC, Xbox, or Series X, no problem. But with PS4, because Mac, you're playing on PS4, right?
Yep.
So we're both playing on PS4. When the PS5 version of that game launches, we'll be able to play the PS5 version for free, but you will not be able to transfer your save over. And the only reason is because Sony didn't invest any back-end tools, and the only way that devs can get their game saves to go from PS4 to PS5 is if they actually go back and patch that feature in. So games like Borderlands and Mortal Kombat right now are finding out that, hey, if you don't patch this in, PS5 users are just having to basically be SOL for no reason other than Sony didn't want to make anything on the back end. And it's really funny because I kind of want to talk a little bit more about this on a separate thing. Just, it's super technically nerdy. I obviously know most people won't care that much about it. That it's just kind of interesting. The only reason that Yakuza on PS5 won't let saves transfer is because it's obviously been so long now. By the time Yakuza comes out on PS5, it'll have been a year and 2 to 3 months since the Japanese version. Those devs are not going to touch that PS4 build to update it to add a PS5 save transfer button. What benefit do they have to touch a year plus old build?
They don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It makes sense. And honestly, they already announced that they're gonna have anniversary. I think it's 15th anniversary live stream in December, where they're gonna talk about we're gonna have announcements about the future of the franchise, and it's clear that like they're gonna want to move on to the next thing anyway. So I think they're just not gonna be interested in touching 7 again.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I'm afraid is going to happen with Scramble, because I mean we know that SMT5 is getting a worldwide release, and I have a bad feeling that Atlus might be like, okay, well, we don't want to release Scramble right now because that might cannibalize the sales of SMT5. So, and then they just kind of forget about it.
I more find it interesting that you think SMT5 is coming on 2021.
I mean, I don't, but like, given their plans, that's what they might think.
And see, at the very least, like, I would understand cannibalizing sales with Nocturne already announced as coming out in the spring.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like they're such different beasts, and obviously we're still kind of up in the air, and we're going to talk about Nocturne later. But like, I think at least with Scramble, they have a chance of kind of saving the face a little bit, because like, what do you guys think because I've been telling people this for the longest time of like, hey, there is a PC port of Scramble out there. Like, it is not that like crazy to believe. Like, Koei Tecmo is very good at making multi ports. Yeah. But like, if by the time they waited, Scramble finally comes out and it is on PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, PC, and Switch, and those next-gen versions along with PC can run at 120 and 4K, like, hey, that's just like an extra box to tick of like, hey, even if you imported this game, here's a brand new version that runs at twice the speed.
Yeah. I mean, if it comes out on PC, I'm definitely getting it on PC.
Like, I guess like a good example would be, because like, I don't know how much the rest of you guys are like really big DMC fans. That's literally what Capcom just did with DMC5. And like, yeah, while some people are looking at it, and I know it's obviously not fair for PC fans, but like, look at the fact that they're just selling this game with a new character and it runs at twice the speed. Yeah, they're doing a whole lot more, but like, for me, that's all I needed. I was like, cool, I'll buy DMC again. Like, that's all it takes. And I think most fans are like me when it comes to series that you really like.
Yeah, I'm major Devil May Cry nerd, and yeah, it's just Virgil alone is like enough for me to be like, oh, yep, I'm getting that whenever I get a PS5. That's gonna be like, that's immediately on my list. But a lot of it really is just kind of dependent on the fan, like how big of a fan someone is of the thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just, I just want to play Scramble already,
Come on over, man. I got it running at 4K 60. It is beautiful.
In English.
Oh, that I can't help you with. I will say, though, I don't know how you guys ever feel about this. One of the, like, I don't know how you guys ever feel when you guys get, like, constructive criticism for channel comments. I think one of the funniest things I've ever heard in my entire life is, and someone, like, mentioned this many days after I posted the video, this guy spent 16 minutes talking about games running in 4K 60 in his videos in 720. And I'm like, you know what? That's fair. That's a very fair criticism I will take.
Yeah.
It's like, listen, I don't have time to render 4K footage all day on my rinky-dink laptop.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, since the time Scramble came out in Japan, I probably could have studied up on some Japanese. So, there's that.
I actually don't know. What are you guys all kind of at with the Scramble hype check? So, like, I obviously know, like, gnarly, you're pretty much there already, but, like, Gab, Mac, and Dad, like, where are you guys at with it currently? Just because it's been so long.
I don't give a single fuck about no fucking Persona 5 Scramble, bro. God damn. It looked like the most boring. It's like some Kingdom Hearts type shit, bro, where it's like a fucking spin-off that got no fucking bearing, being something so, like, not JRPG type and actually being, like, relevant to the actual... It's a sequel, kinda.
No,
it is. It's a direct sequel, isn't it? Yeah. It's a fucking sequel. That's not even in the same style. That's not on the same fucking console as the original. Who the fuck cares? It's literally Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2. Do you care about that game? No.
I love that game.
I actually really like that game. That game was kind of fucking lit. But that's only because I didn't have a PlayStation 2, 3 to play. That was literally like the supplement because I didn't have like the main thing. Like, I don't give a fuck anymore, bro. The only people who care are people who probably didn't even play the main game to begin with. And the people who did care probably gave up waiting and just watched Buffmeister play that shit. No one cares anymore. I'm so sick of everyone complains about it so much.
Well, I mean,
you care.
Yeah,
Import it, bitch. Learn Japanese. Just learn Japanese. In the words of my good friend Filthy Blasphemer and LaRue, just learn Japanese. Stop being a little fucking pussy about it.
What I should have done when I found out that Sega bought Atlus.
Exactly. You know what, Gnarly? I love you. I love your tenacity. I love your enthusiasm. I love everything about you except for the fact that you're white.
Thanks.
Thank you.
That was very wholesome 100.
But okay, Spencer, I'm gonna correct you on what you said earlier. Like at this point, it's like, yeah, like I want to play the game, but at this point, I'm just more salty the fact that we haven't gotten it. And when it does come out, I'm gonna be like, well, it's about freaking time.
Oh, no, exactly. Like, that's what I mean. Like, that's what sucks is, like, the longer that, like, I keep telling people, the longer they wait, the worse of a job they're marketing this game, which is a slam dunk. Like, obviously, Dad, even you are in the minority of people. Like, when it comes to this game, like, this is a slam dunk for fans or even newcomers who are Koei Tecmo fans, just in the way that, like, Hyrule Warriors was for Zelda and stuff. But, like, obviously, this one, they try, like, a whole lot better. And, like, the sales from Asia alone show, like, the fact that it is, like, the #2 most profitable non-mainline game in the series, like, that's not for nothing. Like, they put a lot of work into that game, and the fact that they're still patching it, even just for a Asian release, like 7+ months in, like, just goes to show, like, yeah, they didn't just, like, shit it out. Like, they worked on this game for 3+ years, and it really, really shows.
Yeah, pretty much.
I just don't care anymore. And it's just stupid because everyone's just so like heavy on it. I bet you $20 the game's not
I don't know.
I
guess because like for you saying like you don't care about it, it's such like it's so like there's so many layers to the game though. Like, are you saying because it's Persona 5 you don't care? Is it because it is made by Omega Force you don't care? Like, what is the thing you don't care about? Because there's so many reasons I can't really just like put that in.
I mean, I wouldn't have bought the game to begin with because fuck the Nintendo Switch. Like, fucking Nintendo Switch. I wasn't going to buy it then. I don't care because it's more Persona 5. I don't care because there's already a source on the internet where I can watch. I can be a Persona fan if I want to and just watch all the cutscenes and be like, yeah, I just beat Persona 5 Scramble.
Watching a playthrough of Scramble sounds like one of the most painful things in existence for me. Like, that game is so fun to play that just watching it for the story, like, the story's fine, like, I like the story, but like that game literally lives and dies by its gameplay. Like, that game, the more I kept playing it, I kept telling friends, be like, this game just gets better. Like, the more you play the game, the worse the beginning seems, because by comparison all this stuff was like held back for you. Like, it does everything you want an action game to do, of like because Mac, you were saying like you love DMC. Like, when you're playing the last chapter of DMC 5, doesn't the first chapter of DMC 5 look like a child's toy?
Yes. So it depends on what you mean by first chapter.
Well, I more mean like imagine that first prologue, and then when you're actually playing the prologue in context of the game, it's like you're playing two totally different fights, even though they're the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mac, as an action game fan, I want to know, because I don't think I've actually talked to you about this that much. Where is your current like hype level, or even just like level of check for Scramble at?
So I just took a drink. For me, I'd say I'm like I'll probably get it. I'll probably play it. PS4, where I'll get it. But I'm just kind of like, when it comes out, it comes out. I'm not like the biggest fan of Dynasty Warriors stuff. Hyrule Warriors is phenomenal. I love it. I'm enjoying the hell out of Age of Calamity. But it's right now. It's like when it's out, and then I'll just kind of play it and I'll enjoy it for what it is. Likely.
Yeah. What about you?
Pretty much the same as Maka, except I played Hyrule Warriors and didn't really like it that much. So my main hype is around, it being a different kind of Muso game. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and I mean, because that's where all those Koei Tecmo games have such a hard time of, because 90% of their spin-offs play exactly like Dynasty Warriors. I get why people look at it and just go, if I didn't like Dynasty Warriors or even the spin-off Warriors games, like even like Hyrule Warriors, if that wasn't for you, I could get why you'd be a little trepidatious about playing it. But like, if you play that demo, you immediately kind of get the thing of, okay, things are different. Like, it's not 1 versus 100. There's platforming, there's sneaking around. Like, the way that they implemented everything, it feels less like a Muso game, and they've definitely focused way, way, way harder on implementing stuff like Persona elements, different sort of fusing And obviously, just the fact that I mentioned there's platforming in the game and it's not in a negative way, I think is a big bonus to the game.
Yeah. And, you know, at the very least, if we don't get Persona 5 Scramble, there is somebody working on a fan patch for the Switch version, so...
If that gets finished before the actual game that's going to be embarrassing, but it's also going to be
embarrassing. Same with Nocturne, because like the Nocturne port, obviously there's a whole lot less work that has to be done because you're basically just bringing over those files from the PS2 version.
I mean, there are people working on one, so you know I'm 90% sure it's going to be done long before the English version.
It's just one of those things of just like, man, like it just goes back to like what Max said, like it's embarrassing. Like with Scramble, obviously that is a whole big ass game, and Nocturne there's a whole lot less work for it, but just both looks like it just looks so bad. Like and you can't even like give them really any sympathy.
No,
like,
you can't.
They could have had it out by now if they really wanted.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I totally ruined, by the way, the conversation for this, so I would like to apologize. The main juxt of this is, do we actually think this Asian release is happening? Like, I'm fully in the nay camp. Like, I'm sure a version is coming out in February, but if it is a Asian English only version, I'm hard in the no way. Like, there's no way that's happening before America gets it.
I mean, my desperation is telling me to say yes, I think it is, but realistically, it's like, probably not. So, yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. So, oh, and also, one more thing. They released a patch for Scramble on PS4 because it was apparently crashing on the PS5. So that shows Atlus still cares about it. At least Atlus
it shows that Koei Tecmo cares about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If it was Atlus, they would have released a press release and then said, "Do you guys want us to fix the PS5 version?" And then maybe did it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Koei Tecmo was like, no, we'll fix it. We're good.
You know, I hope Koei Tecmo cares about Hyrule Warriors and releases a patch that fixes the frame rate in certain levels because, oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, well, dude, now I want to talk about that because no, we're not going to talk about that.
No.
I at least want to think. I think it's important to clarify though, Nearly, that they released that patch before the PS5 was out. I think that shows that like somebody at Koei Tecmo cared. Like they were playing that on. Well, yeah, but I think if it would be a different story of, let's say the PS5 came out and there was a bunch of crashes and people were like, oh man, this sucks, like I want to play it on PS5, and then you had to wait for a patch, whether it be a couple of days or a week. But like no, like it was right at like a couple of days before launch, and then that way people like me could just roll in, play the game, no problem. Like I think that's a good patch. Whereas like saying, oh hey, we fixed the thing that should have been fixed already. Like, I think because it was so preemptive, I think they at least deserve a shout-out for being ahead of the ball.
Yeah. Alright, so that's about it for Scramble. Our next topic is that in an a presentation a couple weeks ago, Sega Sammy said that they were that they had quote-unquote plans to release more remakes and remasters for their older games because of the success of Persona 4 Golden on PC.
P5S.
You think Fez and not portable?
Yes, Fez.
How's that your first take back? Like this just goes back to the Scramble thing. How many times have we heard this news story?
Yeah,
guys?
that's why I said quote unquote, because that's what they say they want to do, but are they actually going to do it? I mean, they did it with Nocturne. Granted, it was a pretty crappy port, but as the developers of Mighty Number 9 would say, it's better than nothing.
But I mean, will it happen? Yes. Obviously, there's a reason stuff like Catherine and P4G came out on Steam. Is it any priority for them? I think not really. Like, not until they actually start doing it. Like, another thing that I pointed out that not a lot of people really talk about, all the recent re-releases, ports, or re-enhanced games that Atlus has put out, all of the ones people have really clamored for, like Nocturne, like Persona 4 Golden, and even like Catherine, they were all outsourced. Atlus did not care enough to even do them themselves. They rather would just outsource it to another company.
Yeah.
Like a good example, look at Kingdom Hearts. When Kingdom Hearts remade all of their games for 1.5, 2.5, 2.8, and even bringing those to other systems, those were all made by the internal team who was making Kingdom Hearts 3. So, like, I think, yeah, Atlus is obviously a much smaller company than Square Enix is, but let this sink in, guys. They would rather work internally on Tokyo Mirage Sessions Encore than Nocturne Remastered.
I mean, did Atlus actually work on that, though? I thought that was a
Yes.
Nintendo thing.
No. Remember, it was Atlus JP, same dev team who worked on TMS. They did Encore. Nintendo did the new localization for the new text in Encore.
Okay.
But yeah, it was still all the original Tokyo Mirage Sessions team.
But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it's like they say this is what they want to do. I think they should actually do it because there's a lot of money to be made. I mean, Persona 4 Gold, and it was like, I think it was like the most played, like when it came out, it was like the most played JRPG on Steam for a while. And yeah, I really think that a lot of Atlus's older games need ports or remasters of some kind. Like, I definitely like to see Digital Devil Saga, definitely like to see Persona 3, and like they just need to like port pretty much all their like old, but like they're pretty much their whole old library so that more people can play it, you know.
What did you guys think when you saw that Nocturne was made in Unity? Just because we're talking about ports, like, because one of my big takeaways when I saw that is I got really excited because I was like, oh, cool, they made a PS2 emulator, so obviously the oty ports are going to be super easy to come out if they wanted.
Yeah,
what did you guys think of the whole Unity thing?
My first thought was like, ew, Unity, but then I'm like, oh, I guess it's fine.
I just thought it was funny that it's displayed so blatantly. I just thought that was funny, but for otherwise, I didn't care too much. I was curious about like what it could mean for like future things.
Dad, what's your Unity thoughts? I'm dying to know what you think of Unity.
I don't care.
I'm with Dad on this one.
Nocturne Remastered is fucking dog shit, and I don't think Unity is the reason why it's dog shit.
No. That's that's one of the tough things about criticizing Nocturne Remastered is just because, like, the problems in Nocturne Remastered have nothing to do with the engine it's based in. It's literally just a technical problem from, like, the developing and coding aspect. Like, Unity as an engine can do PlayStation 2 ports fine. It can do brand new games fine. Like, I think one of the funniest little comparisons is, like, when I had you on the podcast, Nearly, when we were talking about how Nocturne Remastered just doesn't, like, you're not playing it looking at it like, whoa, dude, this looks pretty good still, you know? Like, It has its moments, but it's definitely got a lot of, like, rough edges around it.
It doesn't. There's no moments in Nocturne HD where I thought any of the cutscenes looked better than the original.
Oh, yeah, even the cutscenes for sure. But, like, by comparison, what I thought was so funny is because I'm a huge nerd, I was playing through the new Kingdom Hearts game that came out, and I didn't know this until the credits because, unlike Atlus, Square Enix actually has money. That whole game is made in Unity. It is using PlayStation 2 assets and an Unreal Engine, like, playback engine. But what's so funny is that whole game is made in Unity. They don't tell you until, like, you actually look through all the credits. But, like, it is the best these PS2 textures have ever looked. They actually made new PS2 models in this engine in Unity, and it's like, wow, like, and the fact that it was like all for a rhythm game, it was like, wow, this rhythm game had more time, love, and attention put into it than like this remaster of this like classic game that's like honestly like really important for the series. But like I think just goes to show that Nocturne Remastered wasn't made because Atlus wanted to remind the world why we love S&T. Nocturne Remastered was made as an engine to market S&T 5 next year.
Mm-hmm.
IMO.
Yeah. But
I think the worst thing about it is that people will still defend it. I remember a friend sent me a fucking 4chan board where somebody was talking about me, and they're like, so watch Simply Dad delete his video about Nocturne and make a video why he's not gonna buy Nocturne HD. I'm like, what is there to say? It's the same game, runs the same. There's no new content. It's just worse.
Well, I think it's fair at least to say, if you're playing this game and like, yeah, you've played, if you've played all the like imported versions, like sure, yeah, like, but like for someone like me, I've never experienced Rido and Nocturne, so like at the very least, like I'm gonna play it just for coverage alone for like my podcast and stuff. But like even as a fan, I'd still buy Nocturne just to check it out because this is the only officially released way to check out the version with Rido in it.
Yeah, and people will be disappointed when they realize that there's literally no difference. It's just the coat of paint.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Even with that being said, yeah, you're totally right in the sense of like, yeah, like I'm aware the bar's low. It's there, but the bar is low. Yeah, don't expect Dante being in or out of it in place of Rido to help it. Like, no one's going to be going away from playing Nocturne Remastered. Like, man, the port was a little rough, but hey, that Rido really changed it.
Well, actually,
I don't know.
While we're on the topic of Nocturne Remastered, apparently, like, Atlus has apparently been listening to our feedback, and there's talk of a patch that fixes the issues. But
the proper verbiage, they're investigating.
So what that usually means is like they'll just kind of maybe think about it, and then maybe they'll like patch it if they feel like it in 2 or 3 months. I don't know.
Would you guys like to know why they're actually doing this? Because I've seen a lot of
the reviews are fucking terrible.
Well, they don't. Well, Atlus Japan could care less about the reviews. The reviews don't matter. They've already paid Famitsu to get their 8 or whatever. But like, think about it. Why would Atlus Japan actually post about this and say, "Okay, we're going to look into it"? Like, why? Like, they've already made their money. Like, why do they care about this game now?
For the international release.
Exactly, because we've talked about this before. What's the first thing everyone's going to ask next time Atlus West shows off Nocturne Remastered? Hey, you gonna fix that shit?
Why does this run like
we know
shit?
that shit don't work. They will sell so few copies if they don't fix it, and I think that's really, really interesting. And there's actually a comparison now, but it was a whole lot less vocal. Gab, you're the only one here who's played 13 Sentinels along with me, right?
Play what, sorry?
13 Sentinels.
Oh, yeah, I beat it.
So, did you know that actually after the Western release, that Vanillaware patched the Japanese version of the game?
No, I had no idea, actually.
So, the Western version actually had a couple of extra bug fixes and changes to the game that weren't super, super drastic, but were a lot of quality of life stuff. And they took those Western changes and fixes and put it into the Japanese version because it was like, well, hey, we might as well make this the best version of it possible. And obviously, no one was really griping about 13 Sentinels at launch in Japan of saying, oh, look at all these technical problems. But this is kind of a similar case to it, but obviously on the opposite side of things. So now the only way they're going to have any chance of not fans buying Nocturne Remaster next year is if they actually fix it, which I think is really, really interesting because we've never really seen Atlus Japan. Like, Atlus West is one thing, but obviously they have no real power when it comes to the games. They're just the publisher and the localizer. So the fact that actually Atlus Japan is doing this because of the Western upcoming release, I think that's really, really interesting.
Yeah. If only they could do the same with the actual release and, you know, release it internationally on the same day. Or just not make us wait over 5 months.
One baby step at a time.
Let's get ready for SMT5!
It's not a baby step, it's more like an inchworm squirming.
It's a much sadder and accurate depiction, sadly.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, it sucks that it takes a bunch of people complaining to get them to like fix the performance. But I mean, if that's what it does, then you know,
because
that's
it's
what
actually
it takes.
harming the sales. The fucking sales drastically dropped in week 2, and people are reselling it rather than having people buy it. Like, the resale on that shit is so fucking bad.
Yeah,
like didn't like LaRue literally just like tweet out like the collector's edition has already dropped like $50 in Japan.
Yeah.
I still need to cop it.
Actually saying that it's bad.
No, you don't.
It's
It's a dumb nightlight. Don't buy a Mac. Save your money.
Yeah, no, I want to cop it because it's Nocturne.
Dude, get a nightlight to keep the predators out while you sleep.
Exactly.
Well, like for you guys at least, obviously I know not everyone has gotten hands-on time with Nocturne Remastered, but from what you all have seen, like what are big things that you're hoping a potential a potential fix might actually kind of add to the game, for at least for you? Like what would be a benefit that would actually make you more excited to pick it up next year?
First and foremost, absolutely just better stability. There is absolutely no reason it should not be running at like perfect conditions on Switch, PS4. It like there's zero excuse.
Let us choose our inherited skills.
Yeah, that kind of thing would also be very nice.
I don't know. I think it's stupid. I don't really mind skill rerolling. Like if you think it's annoying, then just don't do it.
Well, yeah, but like, well, in this made-up fantasy land where we all watch anime, like yeah, what like there has to be something. Like, what could they add or even fix to Nocturne Remastered right now that you would think, okay, that's good, that's a positive.
Nothing. I think the game is fine the way it is.
But you just called it dog shit. You literally just called it dog shit this exact same episode.
Well, I think he's talking about the original.
Yeah, you shouldn't change anything from the original because there's nothing objectively horrible about the original. Just, I think, if anything, keep in the grinding DLC. People who don't want to grind, they can just buy the DLC.
Or, I mean, you could just switch to merciful mode, too.
That's true. I don't know. That's the only issue I have with Nocturne is that for some parts of the game, it requires you to grind. But that's, like, literally for, like, 100% completion. Like, fusing Beelzebub and Metatron for the Culpers and shit like that. There's nothing you can change. You shouldn't change it. That's the whole fucking point. They changed literally everything that wasn't an issue with the fucking game. Like, the updated visuals are fucking terrible. Like, I remember the biggest thing that, like, the Nocturne developers are so proud of is their lighting engine and how it really captivated, like, the design docs that they had for the world that they wanted to show. And then Nocturne HD just fucking pulled the Twilight Princess and just bloomed everything, turned the fucking saturation up, turned the brightness up. Now it just looks like shit.
So then how about that? What if they patch in the ability to just have the original visual assets? Wouldn't that be a positive they could add for Remaster?
What is the point of paying like full price for
so you can play it on a modern system and not have to bust out your PS2?
So you don't have to dust off
your PS2 if you want
to
play it on a modern
system,
play it. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with the remaster besides like the shitty frame rate maybe. That's only if you're playing on Switch. I mean, I don't know nothing about no crashes, but I don't know. Like, it's literally just like if you can't play the original, there's nothing wrong with getting the remaster. But as somebody who's played the original and I can continue to play the original, I have no reason to fucking buy that shit. There's nothing I can gain by fucking playing the remaster.
I have a fake fan question just because it's been a really, really long time since I've actually played OG Nocturne. Could you always change the difficulty in a playthrough of that game?
No, it was always at the start.
Okay, well, so at least that's actually kind of one of the nice things they added in Remaster. I totally forgotten about that because you can kind of toggle it on and off, at least the menu. But Gab, what about you? Are there any sort of changes that you hope to see by the time a Western release or maybe even a patch comes out?
Is the frame rate still a problem?
Well, the problem isn't like... Well, okay, depending on what you're playing, the frame rate is a problem, but like... I think the biggest problem I personally have with it, and obviously this is very subjective, at least if you're not playing on Switch, give people a unlocked frame rate. Like, there's no reason that game needs to be locked at 30.
Yeah, it should be able to do 60. It's a PS2 game, for God's sake. It should be able to do that.
Like, I don't know, are you guys very, because when I did a video talking about playing it on, like, PS5, like, I was surprised, but I guess shouldn't be, like, that much, that people were at least saying, like, hey, what if I just want to play this only at 30? Like, the game was designed for 30, let's go for 30. Like, I think, hey, leave that as an option, obviously, but, like, what is the harm at offering, like, realistically 60 for like PlayStation and Xbox, or even just like something like 120? Like, hey, like add a turbo mode in. Like, why not? Like, older RPGs do that because guess what? There's a lot of grinding.
Who do you talk to that says they want to play a fucking game at 30 FPS only?
People who either think that's part of like maybe like some artistic vision for the original, like nostalgic periods. Like, there are people out there. Like, obviously, it's all whatever you float your boat. Like, there's no right or wrong way to experience the game.
I gotta find these people. I don't know what you're talking about. gotta find these people. I gotta see what's wrong with them.
I do think, I mean, this wouldn't really be something they could patch in, but I think if they wanted to add, like, post-launch DLC, they could add an extra hard mode.
Clip it, guys. Clip this right here. This is your video footage of Gnarly asking for post-launch DLC.
Fucking, there's no point in playing, like, I'll say it now. I don't know if I've ever said it on the podcast before. There's nothing to gain by increasing the difficulty of any Mega 10 game, because all the difficulty settings are fucking terrible. It's literally just like a...
And yet, Dad, there are so many people who think that these games ride or die by their difficulty being their saving grace, when the majority of fans never talk about, oh, dude, let me tell you how much I love the difficulty in DDS. Like, that never comes up, ever.
It's because it's just one of those fucking... It's an outsider thing. It's literally what everybody who doesn't know what it's about fucking say. That's the appeal. It's not because it's difficult. And hard mode and Nocturne hard type, all fucking dog shit. Hard mode in Persona 4, hard mode in Persona 3, hard mode in Devil Survivor 2, which is probably the only way to play that game. They don't do anything. All they do is just make things longer and more tedious. Or in the case of Devil Survivor 2, it makes the game slightly less easy. Like, I don't know. I fucking hate it when people, like, not you and specifically, Gnarly, but like, I hate it when people think like they need to add like another difficulty to either make it easier or harder. Like, bro, just play it at the normal difficulty. It's the perfect way to experience the game. It is so balanced, and hard mode just ruins the balance. Hard mode of 4 ruins the balance. Hard mode of Persona 3 ruins the balance. Hard mode of Persona 4 ruins the balance. Hard mode of Golden ruins the balance. Hard mode of 5 every single game that has a difficulty setting just fucking ruins the way the game is intended to be played. It just increases or decreases the grinding time.
I mean, I didn't really have to. Well, okay, I did have to grind a little bit in Golden. But, like, I mean, with games like Nocturne and SMT4, I mean, I don't like, just being able to just, like, breeze through the game without changing my strategy or anything. I like reaching a roadblock and then figuring out a workaround for it, which is why I started doing challenge videos on my channel.
Yeah, but I think that's an issue with the game itself. I don't think, because playing SMT4 on hard doesn't really change that. It just means I die faster. It doesn't make me think around it.
I think if you look at it more and think of like Gnarly, you're not doing challenge videos like, all right, guys, we're gonna be revelations on whatever mode. Like, you're adding things to the game yourself. Like, you're doing elements, whether you're subtracting or adding in things to make it more challenging. Like, I think instead of having like 19 different difficulty options in Persona 5 or whatever, just like have a base game, and if you want to toggle on or off different things, like I think a game that does difficulty really, really well is Dragon Quest XI. Has this new thing called Heroics and stuff. And hey, if you want to make the game stupidly easy or stupidly hard, there are tons of little things you can add and tick on and off for these boxes to make the game up to your level of like how you want to play it.
So you're saying like hardcore mode in Fallout New Vegas?
Like that, yeah, that's a great example. Hardcore mode, you could still play that at the easiest mode because, like, guess what? Hardcore wasn't just do less damage, take more damage. It was like, hey, start eating, start drinking, sleep more. Like, stuff like that makes it more interesting than just saying I die quicker or I kill slower. Like, that is the most like boring way to add like Dad mentioned, it's the most boring way to elongate your game. No one's bragging about taking 200 hours to beat an RPG because you
do I fucking hate when people brag about beating Nocturne or any of the games on hard mode or some shit, or people who brag about hard type like it makes anything different. It just makes the game slightly more or less tedious. I think the SMT game with the greatest difficulty, the best difficulty, the most fun I've ever had with like a challenge, the most I shouldn't say fun, the most challenging SMT game is fucking DX2. It's a fucking mobile game and it does difficulty better than any SMT game you can find. I have so much fun. This recent event that just went on, I had so much fun creating a team, trying to like theory craft and see how I can beat this fucking boss. And when I finally did, I was so excited. I mean, I didn't feel satisfied because I beat that bitch like 3 times. It's just that my piece of shit demon kept missing. At the very last turn when he had like 3 HP, that's another story. Let's talk about that another time. But it's so satisfying. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm actively working to beat one person because it is that difficult. I cannot go in with the team that I use on everything else and beat them. I actually have to understand what the boss does, find a way around it, think what's the optimal way to deal with it, and there you go. It's great. It's fun. DX2 is probably the most fun SMT game that I've played since. What's the last SMT game I played? What's the last one that came out? Apocalypse, 2016. 4 years. Even then, Apocalypse wasn't easy. So SMT4, 2013. When that game came out 2013, right?
You are correct.
Yeah. So 7 years. I have not played a game more difficult than SMT4 because that is literally the first SMT game I've ever played. Everything after that was the easiest shit in the fucking universe. DX2 is the only game that has actually provided me a challenge, a fun challenge, where I didn't feel like I needed to grind. I didn't feel like I just needed to like get more levels or get more items or get more shit. It was so much fun. A fucking mobile game. Let's talk about it real quick. A fucking mobile game is more fun than Persona 5 The Royal, Persona 3, Persona 4, Persona 4 Golden. It does difficulty better. And it's crazy because Atlus don't even fucking make this game. It's Sega. It's Sega that makes this game. It's not difficult to fucking do. They just don't do it because they're stupid.
Persona 5 Royal is super easy.
I hate the royal difficulty decision because like that goes back to my initial thing of no one when praising Royal for being a fun game, whether you love it or not, like no one is like saying, oh, Royal's fun or it sucks because of the difficulty being like too easy.
Yeah,
like,
but it's a draw from the game that you can say that it provides no challenge.
I don't know, because like my entire playthrough for it, when I was going through it, literally off the heels of beating Vanilla, I wasn't like, oh, this is too easy. I was just like, let's compare it. Like it felt like playing Persona 5 to me, but with more options. And so, hey, are those options more easy?
Things like, okay, that's why I don't find an issue with skill inheritance in Nocturne, because when you give it the SMT4 treatment where you can just pick whatever the fuck you want, it's so easy. You can just make a demon with any skill in the game that you could possibly need at the time, and it's just fucking, what's the point?
Well, the thing about Nocturne is that it's not like you can just put any skill on your demons. You have like inherent types, and you have certain skills that you can't give them. But I'm saying, like, why can't they have something like that and just let us handpick your skills? Or like even Persona 5 and Persona 4 and Persona 5, like Persona 4 Golden, Persona 5, they do that too, where you have to keep the demon's default skills, and you can only inherit skills of a certain type, but you can still choose them.
I was finna say, the best fusion system in a Megaten game is Devil Survivor 2. I don't know if it's in the first one. I don't remember. I've played 2 more than 1. But where you have to, like, the first 3 skills you have to keep, unless you, like, get the little plugin that lets you replace auto skills, and then you select from every single skill that the demons can transfer.
Yeah, I mean, it is in Devil Survivor 1, except without the plugins.
Yeah, I think the plugin system is nice, because do you want to use it on this guy, or do you want to save it for later? I like that. But at the same time, it still gives you the freedom of choosing whatever skills you want, but you have to work around, like, the main skills of the demon, because when you allow them to get whatever the fuck they want, basically the only thing that differentiates one demon from another is the pretty picture that you're using. You know what I'm saying? Like, or the actually no, I was about to say double summoner, but that's terrible. I fucking hate the way double summoner's fusion works. Yeah, Devil Survivor 2 1, that fusion was fine. DX2 fusion is okay because you got like the 3 skills, you got their awakening skill, and then you got 2 free slots for whatever you want. The awakening can be changed depending on the archetype. I like that. I like having limitations, but at the same time, a little bit of freedom to add whatever you think might help the demon rather than add whatever you need to help you specifically. I like working around demon skill sets. I like the fact that every demon has a unique skill, like the 5-star demons in DX2. Like, hey, what if I want an extra turn? I'm going to use Mott this time. What if I want somebody that doesn't allow your demons to get pierced? I'm gonna use Rama here. You know what I'm saying? It's fucking great. I love it so much. I cannot like state enough how good DX2 is about this shit. It is probably, I wouldn't say it's one of the best SMT games. I definitely put it like on a tier list. I put it in A tier, right up there with like fucking Nocturne and shit. It's great.
Maybe you should make a video on that.
Suck my dick. I'll do it some other time. But like, I cannot overstate. I like it when demons feel special. Like, I need this guy specifically. I like when you played Nocturne with no buffs, you needed Cert because of his fire amp ability and the fire attack.
Yeah,
like that was cool. I like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's different than fucking Persona 3 Orpheus only, where you could give him whatever fucking skill you want. You can boost all his stats to 99. There's a difference. It's not like a nuanced thing either. It's very clear. Whatever you pick is not important in these games, but in these games, it's very important. I like that shit. You know what I'm saying? I think that's challenging. having to work around what you're given rather than just creating what you want. Because as much as I like SMT4, as much as I think Persona 4 is okay, I like Persona 4 because it has that restriction. I don't like Royal because it gives you the SMT4 treatment. I don't like Persona 5 because it gives you the SMT4 treatment. Because like, it's not challenging. I can give it whatever I want. I have a Jack Frost in SMT4 with Drain Fire, fucking Ice Amp, Super Ice Amp, fucking Ice Pierce, I think, and like Refrigerate, which is like the strongest ice attack in the game. Like, that's not Jack Frost at that point. That's fucking like Bazunga 3000 Death Machine type shit, you know? It's not fun. I don't feel
Jack
like I'm
Frost on steroids.
I'm you, simply but better. I don't know. I don't even know where the discussion came from. All I'm just saying is that the fucking difficulty settings in SMT games are fucking terrible, and it's really pathetic that a mobile game, not even made by the same company, does difficulty better than literally every single game in their entire franchise.
I would just like to say that while there are definitely lots of things you can praise about DX2, I still think it is got a lot of problems because of its gacha routes and just turns me off from that. But I think the fact that people are still playing is cool, but I think there's a big reason why you don't always see SMT fans also playing DX2. It's not like it's an instant, like it drew everyone over when it came out, but there's a reason there's a large amount of fans kind of separated by like, hey, do you play, like the amount of people I know who play both are very, very small.
I just think people who don't like it because it's a gacha are fucking idiots. I've paid $0 and I'm like,
no. I'm
played...
not saying it's bad as a gacha. By the way, I am that idiot you're talking about. I think it's bad because of its design. I think its story doesn't do anything for me.
Oh yeah, the story's fucking terrible. I don't.
Yeah,
really
but like I'm one of those people who would say I don't like a game that is made like a gacha because I think gacha design is flawed. Like just look at stuff like Genshin Impact. I think that's really, really interesting use of the gacha mechanic, but like DX2 specifically, it gets nothing additive to the experience because it is a gacha. Helps it. Everything there design wise because of that is just sort of whatever. It never really, like, my complaints with gacha never really start or even end because of I don't want to spend money. Like, trust me, I get it. Like, I've actually put lots of hours into the Kingdom Hearts gacha, which is like Unchained Cross or like Unchained Memory or whatever.
They keep changing
I have
the
not
name.
put a single money. I know, but like literally, I play that one because hey, it has a canon story. I like the story, and I can play for free. And there's always tons of little stuff to collect for it. Like it all, like every game with gacha mechanics, like reacts differently. And obviously, just because I don't like it doesn't mean like I know you like it. I know LaRue still plays it like religiously, but it's just one of those things of like there are lots of ways that it can kind of affect and take people for it, and like you say, all the positives you like about it are great, but like at the same point, I don't think there's any complaint that I have at DX2 that I could look at and go, I'm just being mean because it's a gacha and that's not fair. It's like, no, it's just got a lot of things of, I think its mobile design doesn't do it any favors. I don't think like it is not an experience that I feel safe in saying, me not having played DX2 for like the last 2.5 years, I have had zero FOMO ever. There's nothing they could do to DX2, even with adding stuff like Bayonetta or Berserk or Devil May Cry. Nothing that I have missed in that game is ever going to hit me and be like, oh, dude, I wish I checked it out. Like, it's like, if you like it, cool. If not, you're really not missing out that much.
I think you're missing out on a lot because I think the changes to the press turn system and, like I said, the difficulty is so worth it. Because I don't care. Like the only because if you don't like it because the gacha elements, that's fine. Like if you think that doesn't add to it at all, I think it does. Because I think with the way the gacha system works. I mean, sure, obviously at like the top level, you're gonna have the motherfucking pay pigs that spend like 500 bands, billions of dollars on the shit to like get the best.
I don't know how
possible.
I've never heard of the term pay pig. It is disgusting and hilariously accurate. I've heard of whales, but pay pig is somehow way worse.
It's a lot more humiliating.
It's like a Findom thing from what I've known. I know a lot of people who are Findoms.
Okay,
but
before we get even more sidetracked, let's move on to our next topic.
I mean, at least that was tangentially SMT related.
Okay. Okay, so our next topic is for the Game of the Year Video Game Awards or whatever they're called. 13
Jeff
Sentinels.
Keighley's The Game Awards 2020.
13 Sentinels has been nominated for Best Narrative, and P5R has been nominated for Best RPG.
So I'm going to make a weird suggestion before we get into this. Can we actually talk about Royal first? Because I think that discussion's a lot more cut and dry, and I think there's actually a larger, more interesting discussion with 13 Sentinels nomination.
You mean like how they use stolen fan art?
No, not
They did
even
what?
that. Like honestly, like okay. For starters, yes, the fact that they didn't use official art for Royal, that is such a big, like, whatever. Like, no matter how big of a to-do, like, honestly, I think the fact that it was there, and yeah, it took a while for them to change it for it, no one did that with malicious intent. Like, it is such a non-story. Like, because guess what? Whether they used official art, or whether they used a fan art, no one did that with the intention of, oh, I'm going to get one over on someone. That was probably just someone who had to work on setting up all of the categories behind the scene, did Google image search, and just found whatever they could. Do they deserve to be called out for it? Sure. Is it actually a big deal? No. Who cares what art they could use?
I'm gonna be honest. If I was the artist, but if I was the guy who like did that art, I'd be kind of flattered that my art was used for the Game Awards.
Yeah,
whether
even whether you get credit or not, because guess what? It's not like Jeff Keighley was out there being like, "Oh, who cares?" or whatever, or like, "Oh, we should give them like credit." Like, I'm sure at some point, like, "Hey, they changed it, they corrected it." But like the fact that it when the whole Game Awards thing like came out, I feel like people just see stuff like the Game Awards and look at, okay, what can I get mad at? Like, no one looks at it and is like, oh, this is an interesting conversation about what did and didn't, like, hit it. Like, everyone treats the Game Awards, whether it be nominations or the actual awards, everyone online who wants to be, like, vocal and shitty about it, they treat it like, okay, Jeff Keighley did all of this himself, no one else is involved here, and if these opinions don't line up with what I want, it's because this is bullshit and everyone is against me, and clearly this is a rigged, like, thing, and we should nitpick every little thing. It's like, guys, awards for video games by the media. Like, it does not matter. Like, no one's looking at the Oscars being like, oh my god, like, Frozen 2 didn't win last year? Let's start a riot. Like, the closest I've ever seen to people kind of rallying around the Oscars the way people rally around the video game awards. Like, and remember, it's just specifically a video game awards. I guarantee no one who gets half a shit riled up about the video game awards even knows about the DICE Awards or the GDC Awards. Do you guys watch any other award show? No. You talk about the Keighleys because the Keighleys have exclusive trailers, and that's really why we're all there. But let's complain about something anyways. Yeah. It's over. But yeah, like, I hate, like, when the shit gets brought up of, like, whether it be, oh, they used fan art, or, oh, Last of Us got nominated for everything, and, like, all this, like, bullshit. It's just like, who cares? It's a video game award.
Best
Yeah.
video game of all time.
I don't really care that Persona 5 The Royals on a fucking best RPG. What fucking RPGs also came out at this time?
Well, there's
Final
a lot,
Fantasy
but,
7
like,
remake.
I do think it is important to clarify, because not a lot of people really talk about this or know this. So just so I don't feel like I'm talking down to all of you guys, do you know how the Video Game Awards get nominees to begin with?
No.
Yes, I do.
I don't really care. It sounds.
Mac, please talk so I don't feel like I'm talking through this entire thing.
Essentially, the editing room, the editor's room at all these different publications that are really notable, like Kotaku, IGN, etc. They all get together and they make a list of, like, here are the categories, rate your top 5, and then they determine, like, this is our list of the top 5, and which ones get nominated is based on how often they show up.
Yeah, and it's like it's out of 80 people, mostly from Western press and media. Jeff Keighley is not making these lists. All Jeff Keighley does is he's emailing these people, and here he is like a cutoff date. So, like, a good example is you'll see stuff like Miles was included a lot, but, like, nothing for Demon's Souls. It's nothing against Demon's Souls. It's just because a lot of people didn't have Demon's Souls until, like, a day before the PS5 was out. So you have to remember, these nominations are coming from all the people you make fun of for not covering the games like SMT we like correctly. So when you're seeing stuff like the fighting game nominees, if you're wondering why dog shit like the One Punch Man fighting game gets nominated and not like other stuff,
Forget Jump Force. Jump Force.
Yeah, Jesus.
That was embarrassing.
But, like, these like bullshit things coming up for the more niche subjects like RPGs, racing games, or fighting games, or even like family games. A lot of these companies are like, hey, if we don't have anything, let's just basically act like it's a word association test. Whatever comes to mind. Hey, Google Fighting Games 2020. Oh, that One Piece, One Man game, One Punch Man game. Yeah, throw that on there. Whatever. Jump Force. Who gives a shit? So, like for RPGs, there were tons of RPGs that came out this year, and like I'm going to be honest. Like for me, I think the only reason something like Persona 5 Royal got included for nominees this year. Like, because its only thing that P5R got nominated in for the Video Games Awards was RPGs, and that is specifically only because it reviewed so highly. And the only reason that game reviewed so highly, and this is obviously a very biased opinion, but you guys can let me know what you think. Persona 5 for the from the Western aspect of things, was graded on a curve. It was, everyone looked at the Persona 5 vanilla review, saw that they were all 8s and 9s, and went, well, this is better, so clearly it has to be higher than the vanilla review, so that's why you saw so many 9s and 10s. It wasn't because Royal is the second coming of JRPG Christ, it's far from it. But that's just how the Western media who did all of these nominations saw it. So it's like, and what I find so funny is, like, even though that's the only reason it got nominated, Royal has a snowball's chance in hell of winning. There's no way that game's gonna win.
Let's be real, it's probably gonna be Final Fantasy VII.
It's gonna be Final Fantasy VII. If P5 Royal somehow wins, that's gonna be that's just embarrassing. I don't know who it's embarrassing to, but that's just like I will feel
honestly. If you
what are the other nominations?
It's Final Fantasy VII, Genshin Impact, Wasteland 3, and Yakuza 7.
Yeah, it's going to be Final Fantasy
I think it's going to be a toss-up between Yakuza and Final Fantasy VII, which seems fair to me. Like, with the time I've put into both of those games, like, my standout winner is FF7, but, like, honestly, that top 5, like, all 5 of those games are great. Those are great RPGs to play. Like, there's like no real inherent problem with any of them, but like it's just so funny because like when I tell people, if you tell me Persona 5 Royal is your favorite game of the year, or you think it is the best game of all time of the year, I have nothing, like, obviously that's your opinion or whatever, but my first question I always like tell people is this: tell me what else you played this year. Because if you tell me the best game this year is an enhanced PS3 port, that doesn't tell me it's the best game this year. That tells me you didn't play more than 5 games this year.
Yeah.
Now, like, I guess to flip it at least a little bit, what do you guys think is the best RPG of 2020?
Catherine.
Ooh.
Yeah, Catherine's my favorite RPG. Now, I think for this year, I really didn't play that many RPGs that at least came out this year. I played a bunch of like Xenosaga. I've been playing through those this year.
Mac, I have to interrupt you. I threw this out there as the world's easiest softball. And you are now officially kicked off the Xenoblade Network podcast. Fucking Xenoblade Definitive Edition.
Hey, man. Hey. I'm a co-founder of that. You can't do that.
True. You do own 50% of the shares.
Yes, I do. But no, it obviously Xenoblade's up there, though I'm just kind of not a fan of, like, unless it's like a full-blown remake like with FF7, I'm just not a fan of something like that just getting on there. Like, I'm not
true,
a fan
but like let's say if something like Royal can get included, like Definitive Edition is literally doing the same kind of thing that Royal does, of like, here's the game, it's a little bit better, and there's new added content at the end.
Yes. I definitely like Definitive Edition. I love that. It's great. It's like the title says, it is the definitive way to play that. In terms of games that like came out this year that are from this year and not just like a remake or enhanced whatever the hell, the only RPGs I've really played are Yakuza and Final Fantasy VII, and I'd have to easily give it to Final Fantasy VII. I'm really loving Yakuza right now, but Final Fantasy VII was just on so many. It just excelled on so many levels.
What about the rest of you guys? Any like RPG standouts that you think should win or would be your RPG of the year?
I mean, the only ones I played were Royal and a little bit of Xenoblade. So.
Oh yeah, Gabby, you played a lot of games this year. What wins?
Already.
What?
I voted for Royal already.
Well, like not what you voted for, but is Royal your go-to? Like, if it is, it's fine. But I'm just curious.
I just Ram was probably my favorite this year.
Well, okay, sorry, not GOTY, not Game of the Year. Like RPG, like specifically RPG of the Year. Like, what is your like number one standout RPG? I was gonna say because you play a ton of games. Like, I feel like you would have a lot of stuff in there.
I think Gabby's game of the year is SMT Nocturne or RPG of the year.
But yeah, Final Fantasy is going to be like the standout winner for a lot of categories.
Okay, let me ask you this: can I do what Persona 5 fans were saying they wanted to do last year and nominate Persona 5? Can I do the same with Devil Survivor Overclocked?
Yeah.
Do it. Why not? Yeah.
Okay,
literally, whenever we discuss like game of the year type shit, I don't fucking go off of like what came out this year. I just go off of like what I played this year. That's what I consider.
You know what? That's funny you say that because that is actually how the video game awards work. Like Among Us is nominated for a category. It doesn't matter what year
came out like 2 years ago, right? Yeah.
So it's like, hey, if you're playing it and enough people get behind you in terms of votes, you could vote for fucking Dragon's Lair, and Dragon's Lair could win.
I will say I'm a little conflicted on like I totally get the argument for it, but there's still just a part of me that feels weird about like, oh, you could this thing from years ago that just got really popular can now win like game of the year, whatever, in a year it didn't come out in. I feel weird about that, just kind of the same way that like movies, there'll be movies that get really popular years later, but they're still not nominated for the Oscars.
I feel like there should be a separate category for that if they're gonna do that.
Yeah, like on best on like well, that's essentially what best ongoing
best
game
comeback
is.
game or something.
Yeah.
Well, I mean they do have a category for best ongoing game, but that's more like live service games, like Fortnite.
Fortnite. I hope Fortnite wins Game of the Year.
Yeah, what? Yeah, hell yeah.
Game
Out of nowhere comeback. It just wins. Not even nominated. It just wins.
Wins.
Tim Sweeney goes up on stage, starts talking about how he's a civil rights leader trying to beat out Apple.
Nice. All right.
I checked my list.
I'm ashamed.
Royal still wins.
It still wins. All right. Well, what's behind it? I gotta know like what's at least like nipping at its tail.
Like,
well, yeah. Like how? Like what's the RPG list at least?
Before we get too far away from it, I don't mean to interrupt you. I just want to say this. I just want to say this. I am ashamed that Tim Sweeney is from it lives in the same town that I grew up in, because oh my god, everything going on with Epic is a total embarrassment right now. I was like, damn it, that used to be like a point of pride, and now this is like actually embarrassing and the worst.
Rip.
Yep. Okay, go on.
So I played Tokyo Mirage Sessions, Royal, Nocturne. Does Sakura Wars count?
Yeah, it's more action-y, but I'll give it to you.
I also did play Tokyo Mirage Sessions, but I forgot about it because that game's just not very memorable.
You are a bad person. You're right.
That's about it for RPG.
Dang. No love for Rune Factory 4 Special, I see.
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't want to buy it twice.
That's understandable. But yeah, I don't know. Like, so do you get like what is at least your guess? So it's like mine, like and like Mac were like saying like FF7 like all the way. Like if anything besides FF7 wins RPG, it's going to be Yakuza 7 just because it's so new.
Yeah.
But like I think just in terms of like wide stream appeal and just being an amazing game, I think FF7 just like totally steals the cake. Like it's not even fair.
I mean, I don't think I'm not saying I want I'm not saying I want Final Fantasy 7 to win, but I don't realistically see anything beating it.
Yeah.
Dad, what's your guess out of those 5?
I don't care.
Lock it in.
Terrible.
That's for Wasteland 3. Lock it in, everybody. Dad's a Wasteland 3 stand.
Got it.
Okay, so... Alright, so yeah, that's about it for the Game Awards. And the last...
No. We gotta talk about Aegis Rim.
Okay, you want to talk 13 Sentinels.
Yeah, because that's the more interesting one, at least for me. And, like, obviously, like, I'd be curious, like, to see what Gab, like, has to say about it. Because, like, I've seen discussion popping up about this with, like, people... Like, I forgot who made, like, a tweet about it. But somebody was talking about this of being like, oh, like... 13 Sentinels being nominated is like such a huge step forward for visual novels and blah 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 blah, and like, oh, it's going to change how the Western like critical world like reception. Like, I don't think that's the case. I don't even actually think 13 Sentinels is going to win because it's what, best narrative, right?
It's best narrative, and I feel like a lot of people are just gonna. A lot of the people whose votes actually matter aren't going to really give it the time of day.
Yeah, so like just to give a little bit of context. So for best narrative is the only place that 13 Sentinels is nominated for. It's 13 Sentinels, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, and Last of Us Part 2. And I think that it's standout like that. Like, I think it's funny that for the Western market in an awards ceremony, that something like 13 Sentinels is a crazy thing to be included and not the indie game like Hades. I think that really says a lot about how the Western market usually treats Japanese games, not even getting into visual novels.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like Gab, so like for you as the only other person here who's played and beaten 13 Sentinels besides me, like, what did you think when you saw that like get nominated? Like, were you like surprised? Were you like, oh, cool? Do you think it's gonna win? Like, where are you at with it?
Damn. They really put this game for best narrative. I was like, okay, I'll vote for it.
So I have a kind of cynical reason why I think it got nominated, and not because people genuinely thought it was the best narrative. I think that people were looking at the nominees for this category and were looking at their top fives, and what happened was probably in the number 4 or 5 slot for a lot of companies was 13 Sentinels, because they all kept looking at their list being like, oh god, we're like nominating the same 3 games for everything. Like Final Fantasy, Hades, and Last of Us kept getting nominated all the time. And a lot of these people probably looked at recent games, and about a month before nominations came out, people looked at what was something that wasn't necessarily the most critically acclaimed game, but definitely got a lot of talk for its story, and that was 13 Sentinels. So I think 13 Sentinels is kind of on here because a lot of people sort of got recent guilted into nominating it, and I don't think a lot of these outlets genuinely think, oh my god, 13 Sentinels is the best game of the year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, another thing I want to say is that, like, I mean, we didn't actually like get that many game releases this year because most of the games that were supposed to come out this year got delayed.
So I've been looking through the 2020 video game release. Dude, 2020 is like one of the best years for like new video games. Like, this year was stacked. Like, for you, probably no, but like for general like Joe Schmo consumer, like this year was stacked. Like almost every month there was something big, like whether it be for somebody.
Okay.
But I obviously, I know, like, I think most of you guys, besides probably like Gab and maybe like Mac, like are a little bit more picky for what you guys play, especially like Dad. But like, as me, like somebody who like plays like a lot of new stuff, like this year, no matter really who you are or what you were into, there was something kind of big that came out, whether it be something like a Tony Hawk, whether it be something like Yakuza 7, whether it be even like Cyberpunk coming out, or Doom. Like, Doom came out this year. People are forgetting that we had a sequel to Doom 2016.
Yeah.
There were just so many crazy games that came out, like talking like Bugsnax, a Demon Souls remake. We're in a world where Demon Souls got remade as a first-party launch title. This game that Sony didn't want to wipe its ass with and had to give to Atlus. Like, we're now in a world where 11 years later, Sony's like, hey, let's make this a $70 launch game. Like this year is just like insane. Like, even for smaller stuff, No More Heroes 1 and 2 are still in the top slots for most downloaded Switch games. Like, Mac, we're in a year where we got a Hyrule Warriors sequel and Breath of the Wild prequel.
Yeah.
Like, this year was insane. Like, again, like going even to whether it be stuff big or small, we got Yakuza coming out 3 different times on PC, 4 different times on PC this year in Xbox. We've got Tokyo Mirage Sessions happening. We had like just all of these crazy releases, like ranging from big and small, like even releases that are big that you probably already forgot about. Like think about this. Dreams came out this year. Who the fuck remembers Dreams?
Not me.
Yeah, I was thinking like that like I actually did forget about that game, and then I just saw it at Best Buy a few weeks ago, and I was just like, oh yeah, that.
Dude, we're living in a year where they re-released Langrisser 1 and 2, and just to be extra freaking crazy, Brigadine got a sequel. No one remembered Brigadine from PlayStation 1. No one. Also, another crazy big game that people might forget about. Fucking Resident Evil 3 was remade this year.
Oh, yeah.
That came out a week before Final Fantasy VII. This year was stupidly big. This year, like, COVID or whatnot, nothing stopped. Like, yes, games got pushed back. Games were affected. But just even looking at what we have, this year was insane.
Okay, well, I guess a better way to put it would be all the games that I was looking forward to got pushed back. Like Dying Light 2.
Well, when you put it like that... Oh my god. Yeah, sorry, but it's just like even looking at other things. Like, guys, a sequel to Deadly Premonitions came out this year.
That's easily the biggest surprise of the year. It's like, what? What?
Like, I know if you're not the simping John Awards of 2020, like whatever, like this year, like yeah, this year might not be your cup of tea, but I don't think you can say current world events stopped this year from being batshit insane in terms of crazy releases. We have a Samurai Jack game released.
Oh yeah,
and it was decent.
Oh my god, yeah, dude. Just looking at all the releases, like it is insane. A 4th Crash Bandicoot game came out. A sequel to Spelunky came out.
Okay, bottom line, just don't listen to me.
I love you, man. But no, so at least I kind of going through this, I want to ask, kind of similar like what we said before, but 13 Sentinels being on there, whatever. Were you guys, out of 13 Sentinels, Final Fantasy, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, and Last of Us, what do you think is going to win?
Last of Us.
Thank you. That's what should win.
Probably Last of Us.
Best narrative, Last of Us, and people are going to be upset.
Well,
because it's SJW pandering. Oh no, I'm gonna play Persona 5 where it says fucking not SJW pandering because society bad.
Well, depending on who you ask, stuff like Royal sometimes even does have pandering, but that's a whole nother time. But for you guys, out of what you all played in 2020, then what would you say is your 2020 best narrative? I'm guessing, assuming she's actually here, Gab, would you still say that 13 Sentinels is your best narrative of 2020? Yes, Spencer, it's the best game ever. Watch my new video where I say it's my game of the year. Thanks, Gab. What about you guys? What's your best narrative of 2020, personally, even if it's not on this list?
I'm just gonna do what I did for the last thing and say Devil Survivor Overclocked.
That game this year?
I'm gonna at least make you try and pick a game from this year. You played enough games to pick.
I mean, I guess, I don't know, Doom Eternal.
Okay. Mac, what about you?
Best narrative, right?
Yeah, best narrative. Specifically, your best narrative. What would it be?
Best narrative? Well, obviously Xenoblade.
I see. That's funny you say obviously. Like with what you've played, I actually had no idea what you would pick.
That and well, if it had to be something that I just played, it's something that I played this year, something that I hadn't played already, then I'd probably say Xenosaga 1. And even then, there's still a million questions from Xenosaga 1 left over that just didn't get answered in 2 because 2 was, oh man, that is the worst Xeno game.
You're opening up a bag of worms. I'm resisting diving into.
Try to not get sidetracked again.
Yeah, please.
Okay, okay, last topic before we get to questions is
another one?
But it's gonna be short. You guys got any plans for Black Friday?
Hell yeah.
No, I'm gonna stay home. I'm gonna beat my meat for like 3 hours a day, like I do normally.
Okay.
Who got plans on Black Friday? Stay inside, bitch. Don't go to the store, bitch.
Hilariously, dad masturbating is still called Black Friday, just in a much more morbid tone.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna listen to Black Friday, the freestyle duo with J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar. Not while I'm beating my meat, though.
No, it's too late. The mental image is already sewed in for everybody now.
Well, I mean, yeah, I wasn't originally planning to get anything on Black Friday, but I saw that 13 Sentinels is $30 at GameStop, so I'm like, yeah, I'll probably get that.
By the way, people do not get dismayed if you're looking at Best Buy, how quickly, like, because they basically sold. They went from having an entire stock of a video game and selling out in like an hour. Don't like look at Best Buy and think like, oh god, once Black Friday sales happen online for 13 Sentinels, it's going to go fast. Because, like, as I've been telling a lot of people this, there are not a lot of copies of that game made. Atlus was at least smart in knowing that they marketed that game badly. Like, there's not a lot of physical copies out there. So at $30 a pop, it's going to go fast. But I think 2 big caveats I want to tell people. At least be on the ball when it comes to online stuff like that. If you're trying to get a copy for $30, because there's not a snowball's chance in hell this game is ever getting reprinted physically. And number 2, save hope, because usually what Amazon does is they like to price match stuff if it stays around long enough. Because let's be real, Amazon's not moving $60 copies of this game. So like once GameStop puts up their online prices, Amazon will also probably closely be there. So not to like be super duper shamelessly on there, but like I follow a lot of these deals. If you guys do want to follow me on Twitter at SMT Network,
well, yeah,
like,
I saw your post about the deal, but I didn't notice it until it was too late. Yeah, so
yeah, it was like
Twitter algorithm.
It was like what 8 or 9 in the morning for you guys. So like, hey, I'm there when the deals go live, whether you're free or not.
Dude, yeah, I was posted at like 7 a.m. So that would mean for Dad it was like 5 a.m. But
that is also the beat his.
I mean,
hour.
you think it's gonna be hard to find a Black Friday at GameStop?
I think if you know of a GameStop that has it in store, it will not be hard to find. If you are trying to get a copy online, obviously it won't be like PS5 hard to find, but it's like copies are going to sell out very, very fast because there are not a lot of copies.
Guess I gotta be there at the doorstep at 7 then.
But also, I don't know of any other GameStops around us that have it in store. That's the tricky part.
Well, I mean, in my local store, I mean, they have it on the shelf.
Okay, yeah. So, like, if you know of a store like that for you locally, then you're solid. Just walk in there whenever the deal goes live, and you'll be solid. Like, no one's gonna be lining up their local GameStop, like hunting down.
I'm looking at stores. I'm looking at stores near us that have it. Most of them have it in stock.
It just says Spencer's house. That's weird.
Yeah.
Who has 13 Sentinels in Kansas? Just says Spencer's house. Please, everyone, do not rob me. It is very easy to find me online.
Spencerman.
Mac, are you going to be trying to hunt down a copy? Because I know you're in the I want to be in the 13 Sentinels fan club.
Yes, I'm probably going to try and hunt down a copy, but by hunt down, I mean order it. Because all for Black Friday...
Just order it. That's the hunting.
Yeah, because all I'm looking to do on Black Friday is I'm gonna get a new TV.
Ooh, okay.
Mounted on my wall. It's gonna be nice.
I gotta ask because I'm in. A lot of people I know are getting new TVs. Do you know what you're getting? Like, do you already have the model in mind?
Yes, I do. I already got it all worked out and everything.
Lay it on me. I want to hear this. Sell me on your TV.
I need to pull it up specifically, but I know what it is.
Dad, while he's pulling this up, what monitor or TV do you have? I bet like you have a either surprisingly nice or a surprisingly ghetto display.
You're asking me?
Yeah, what are you looking at right now? What is in front of your peepers?
TV.
Yeah, like what are we looking at? Like what brand? What size? What's the girth?
I don't know. It's just a fucking TV. I don't have a monitor right now.
He's got a TV.
TV?
It's black.
Solid. Not the Hello Kitty TV that LaRue has.
It's got a screen on it. Turns
Amazing.
on and off.
Arlie, you have a pretty good TV at your folks' place. You have a nice big TV.
I mean, it's not my TV, it's my dad's TV.
True, but as long as someone is paying for your healthcare, you can also count their TV as your own. I think that's how that works.
Yeah.
So, Mac, what's this beauty looking like?
It's the LG 55-inch NanoCell 90 series.
And what are we upgrading from? This is also important. It's black. It's a TV. It's a screen.
TV. No, it's Westinghouse 39-inch, some cheap thing. I got.
We're getting sidetracked again.
Yes, please. Yeah.
All right.
Question time.
Okay.
The first question is, what are your TVs? I'm going to laugh.
Okay, so first question is by Flake, and he asks, do you think Atlus should do more SMT spin-offs? The answer is yes. Should the potential spin-offs be more like to Persona or more like to Mainline, or even be totally different? I mean, yeah, I do think they should do more SMT spin-offs, but yeah, I think I don't really think they should be like trying to be like Mainline or Persona. I think they should just do what the developers should just do whatever they feel like doing.
I think we have enough spin-offs already, bro. We just need a continuation.
But we're not like getting anything.
Yeah, like we have a lot of spin-offs from the past, but like the last spin-off we got, if you're being like pretty like nice in terms of it, would be TMS, but even that didn't have it in name. Like if you're thinking of spin-offs, the last one we actually got was Overclocked. Sorry, not Overclocked.
Record Breaker.
Was a Record Breaker.
Yeah.
And the point is, it doesn't need to be a new spin-off series. Just release a new spin-off game.
Give us that.
I mean, I would actually say, because of how long it's been, I would like to see a new spin-off series. Like, as much as I would love Devil Survivor 3, I think it would be cool to see a new team stretch their legs on something different. And please, for the love of God, don't make its initials be DS. It's already confusing enough.
Yeah, that is if they do end up making a new one, please just don't do that, because Jesus. Calm down.
Everyone calls Devil Summoner DS, and everyone calls Devil Survivor Desu.
That one's stupid.
Yeah, I don't understand it either, because like Desu could still be short for Devil Summoner.
Desu.
All right.
Motherfuckers just want to say Desu because they want to be anime so badly.
They want to be weebs.
Yeah.
Oh, you are weebs.
Okay. All right. So next question is by Soap Shoes. He says, do you prefer Persona 2 Innocent Sin or Eternal Punishment? Well, I want to say
Punishment.
Well, okay, I want to say Eternal Punishment because like I like the story and the cast better, but we still don't have Eternal Punishment for PSP in English, and I think the gameplay of Innocent Sin on PSP is better than Eternal Punishment on PS1. So
agree. Yeah, it's like if we had the PSP version in English of EP, I would do that. But because of the way things work in the West right now, I have to go with PSP Innocent Sin.
Yeah, I mean the like the fan translation, it's almost done, or just like, it's been in and out of translation hell for 6 years, but apparently it's almost done. So
I'll still take the PS1 version of Eternal Punishment. I think it's way better than Innocent Sin.
Okay. All right. Next question is by TT, and he asks, favorite game series that's not SMT?
Persona.
I love this question.
Okay, how about I add favorite game series that's not SMT or Persona to it?
Devil Summoner.
Okay.
Metal Gear Solid. Love Metal Gear Solid. I will always love Metal Gear Solid. I have such a soft spot. It's like top 3 because they're very, very close. If it's not MGS, it's Final Fantasy or Kingdom Hearts, but Metal Gear Solid #1 all the way.
That's kind of a tough one. I want to say I want to say Fallout because I'm super into the lore for that and stuff, but really the only games from Fallout that I really, really like are 3 and New Vegas.
I think New Vegas is strong enough that you could say that I like New Vegas more than the series, and I understand you.
Like Fallout 1 and 2, it's I played a little bit of them and I've read the lore. I'm sure they're fine games. It's just the whole isometric, just the isometric view and the whole the way the combat works is just I'm just not a big fan of it. But yeah, I mean, Fallout New Vegas is basically just like, it's basically Fallout 3, but with the narrative and like all the other features of Fallout 1 and 2. So yeah.
Mac or Dad?
Well, I was gonna say MGS, but you kind of took that. So if I'm go a bit more off the wall, a bit more wacky cuckoo, I was debating saying Xeno, but you know what? That's too obvious. Let's go with Zelda.
That's a good one.
Love Zelda. That and Devil May Cry.
Nice. I miss Gabby. I miss LaRue. You guys remember when LaRue was supposed to be here?
Yeah, I do.
Abby, what's your favorite game series that's not Atlus published?
Me?
Oh, I said Gabby.
Gabby.
Oh, she's back. Hi, Gabby.
Gabby.
We were just talking shit about you.
Series that's been published.
Yeah, so game series, but preferably not an Atlus developed game.
The first one that came to mind was Halo, honestly.
Oh, who would have thought? Who would have thought a Microsoft releasing a console would lead to a lot of Halo talk? I gotta say, I keep getting like so like
a lot, but I was kind of brought up on Xbox.
Yeah, I mean, my first gaming experiences was on the original Xbox.
Guys, assuming you guys would ever be up for it on PC, because I know the chance of anyone here else buying an Xbox is very, very low. My plan is whenever I do get an Xbox, I want to roll through the Master Chief Collection on co-op. Would anyone else be down to join me? Because I heard those games are very fun co-op.
I mean, if it supports cross-platform play on PC.
It does.
Okay,
PC and Xbox co-op.
Yeah, I'll play it with you then.
I might, because I want to go back. I've been wanting to go back through and play all of them.
Yeah, me too.
I promise.
And when I
would play with him.
Okay, I'll wait until your friend plays, and then we'll just have a very terrible time. But it's just because like Halo is one of those weird series. I've only ever played Halo multiplayer, and I've never once played the campaigns. And everyone tells me I would love Halo's campaigns, at least 1 through 3, and ODST, and maybe Reach.
So like, growing up, I feel like I started with weird games. Like I started with Splinter Cell and like PGA Tour and like Tony Hawk.
Hold on. How do I get Splinter Cell? Where was it? What was first? Golfing or Splinter Cell? These are very different two games.
I don't know. It was all stuff my dad bought, right? So it's like he wasn't buying
okay.
the kids in mind. So
that makes sense. Those are two very big dad games. So I have to ask what.
Which I sucked at. I remember that one level where you play as a kid and you have to like avoid getting hit by the bus. But
yes, the dash level is infamous. Oh my god.
Yeah, I got hit by a bus every time.
Whoever asked this question, I already forgot their name. Gnarly, what was this person's question? No, not what was their question. What was their name?
T.
Oh, T. Yeah, T. T.
Thank you so much for asking this question, just so I could get reminded of the dash level from the Incredibles video game. My night's been made.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, next question is by Magnum Tiger. Says, which characters in the Megaton franchise would you like to see more cosplays of? To be honest, I want to see more demon cosplays. I mean, I know we got like a bunch of people that like, you know, cosplay like Pixie and stuff. I want to see more like, you know, like badass like armor, like demons, you know, like Eligor or Barrett, stuff like that.
Nemissa.
I mean, there's a bunch of Nemissa too, though. Not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just
Gnarly just don't want to see women. He wants to see armor-clad men. No skin allowed. That's all I'm understanding from this.
When you Google Nemissa cosplay, there's only like 2 or 3 people that pop up, so it's not.
Yeah, and most of them are like Japanese cosplayers. I mean, like, I don't give a fuck, bro. Like anything that's not fucking. Oh, here's my casual Joker. It's just he's got a wig on and shit. Like, just do something cool, bro. I love it when people like go all out for that shit. It's so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like
LaRue's Dawn cosplay.
I killed him.
Anyone who cosplays as Sho Minazuki instantly gets 100 cool points. All Sho cosplays that I've ever seen are very cool.
You know, I don't see that many Devil Survivor cosplays, so I'll say that.
Those characters fucking suck.
honestly,
I should cosplay
You
the girl
suck.
with the big boobs.
Honestly,
from Devil
Gnarly, that's like
Survivor.
a really big regional thing. Devil Survivor 2 cosplay was really big in Japan around the release of the 3DS one.
Okay,
like,
that was
like
that was like 5 years ago.
true, but I'm saying
Actually,
like
4 years
it
ago.
was once in vogue to cosplay it.
I was told I should cosplay the girl with the big boobs from it.
At
Oh,
one
I
point,
saw
you
all
were
of them.
looking.
Except
I thought at one point you
Except
were
for, like,
looking
Aerie.
to cosplay someone from Devil Survivor 1, weren't you?
wait,
Yeah, I
who are
was
you
supposed to
talking
be Yuzu.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think whatever the fuck you want is cool. I just think more demons and shit, like more like creative shit. I fucking love LaRue's Demonica shit. I loved his Dawn shit. Shout outs to LaRue. I miss you, baby. Mwah, that's for you. Only for everyone. Everyone else, like close your ears when you get to that part of the podcast. I think
Go back
when
and
people
close your
go,
ears now.
yeah, go back and close your ears. When people get creative with their shit, it's so much fun. You know what I'm saying? Like anybody can buy like a Joker outfit. Anybody can buy like a horror outfit. I think it's cool when people create shit. It don't matter what it is, as long as you create it. I think that's like the badass shit. Like you do the wig yourself, you create the costume yourself. I think that's really impressive. That's what impresses me. 'Cause I don't know shit about
You
cosplay.
inspired me. The next time I'm able to go out to a convention without dying a horrible death, I'm gonna say this right here. Mark it down for the history books. Cosplay is Adam Cadmon from SMT9.
Yeah, just take,
mark it
just
in
skin
the
yourself,
Just
bro.
like get
Just skin
tattoos all
yourself.
over your whole body.
Bingo.
No, just skin yourself
Bingo.
alive.
Bingo.
But then you'll
Demi
die.
Fiend cosplay. Nah,
said-
He
you'll
said
look
without
cool.
dying a horrible death.
It won't be a horrible death. You'll look good.
Okay.
He'll die a death. It'll just be a cool looking death.
I thought
Yeah.
about trying to do a Demi Fiend cosplay.
Then you
Female Demi Fiend is actually weirdly popular
I've,
for
se-
cosplay.
I've seen a bunch of them.
Yeah, I saw one recently and I thought it looked really cool.
I think I could do it good.
Yeah, you
Don't
buff
do
enough?
nipples. It looks weird if he has nipples on. Don't
Yeah.
give him nipples.
I mean, I'm
Demi Fiend cosplay, but it's with boob.
pretty sure if you did that, they'd kick you out.
The boob demon.
Nah, just wear pasties.
I
I'm
mean,
sure you'll be good.
they'd probably still kick you out, but
Did you say booba, Gabby?
He said the boob demon.
Booba.
the boob. Oh,
The
Diana
boob demon.
Diana,
I mean, they would-
Inanna.
definitely kick you out.
Yo, someone
I'm-
do Inanna, bro. Like pregnant booby demon chicken lady. That's what gets me going.
Someone I know did Shadow. What's his name? Shadow Kamoshida.
The
in
hedgehog.
underwear,
Oh,
and
Oh,
he got kicked out every single time.
Wait, seriously? One of my friends was Kamoshida. He was like Shadow Kamoshida. He never got kicked out. But then again, it was at like midnight when he did it.
This is also at like like small term conventions where like there's so little people that they can actually control. Like if they don't deem you appropriate, because it's a family friendly event. If they don't deem you appropriate, you're out basically. And
bro
if you
must have been
argue-
packing if that's an issue. God damn.
Yeah.
I was
and-
gonna say I want to cosplay as Vincent one day because I literally just like put my hair up in a low fro or whatever because he's got that fro, and just show off my schmeat in my underwear. That'd be great.
Yeah.
So the area I'm in, they care about it a lot for some reason, and like on some people more than others. Even if you're wearing shorts underneath your skirt, they'll still be like, "Oh, you're not wearing enough to cover up." It's like, dude, I'm an adult. Can you?
Damn,
just-
who runs this shit, Gnarly? You showed too much skirt. No, put the armor on. Get on the
The
horse.
problem is-
Get on the horse.
You're saying, Gab, is where you live, they're really, really into Dark Souls cosplay.
They're just awful, and like, yeah. Sorry, there's a spider on me.
That's the spider. I miss you, spider.
I see you're already working on your black teen cosplay.
Oh God, that's awful.
Then what?
Now I don't know where it went.
The Spider-Man thing.
Oh,
I
okay.
can't my clothes now.
At least it wasn't a.
Mac, that joke had the swagger of a black teen, and I commend you for it.
At least it wasn't. At least it wasn't a centipede, which happened to
Spider-Man
be
Miles Morales really
when I
makes you
was-
feel like a black kid.
streaming not too long ago. But
Next question.
yeah. All right.
Next
I'm-
question is from Women Enthusiast.
I am not
And someone
answering
goes,
that.
Hey, who is the sexist host on the podcast?
That's
lol?"
It's
you,
me.
because you asked it.
Yeah.
It's me.
I actually meant to type sexiest, but like I said in my reply tweet, the answer's still the same. It's me.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
me.
Okay, next real question is by Paul, Igus X Makoto Enthusiast. Who is your lucky character in Mario Party? Luigi.
Princess Peach, baby. That's my internet girlfriend. I love I've been rocking Princess Peach since like day one. I don't know why, but Mario Kart, Mario Party, that's my baby, and I've never lost a game of Mario Party in like fucking 6 years.
I'll play Mario Party.
It's been so long since I last played Mario Party. I don't even think I have a lucky character anymore.
Damn.
Hey, Spencer, if you want, next time I come over, I can play Mario Party 8.
No.
Big
play a good one like 4, bro. What the fuck?
I appreciate the offer, but like, yeah. I'm like, nah, dude, it's 2020. The last thing I want to do is like play one of the like later like Mario parties.
Okay, it means the last good one.
Mario Party wasn't
last one by
bad.
Hudson.
It was just shallow.
Last one by Hudson Soft, so last like good one, in my opinion, because I know a lot of people don't like Mario Party 8, even though
I thought 8 though. Didn't 8 still have the car where you guys all have to go together?
No, that was
9. The 9
9
and 10 are the only ones with the car.
Yeah, and they suck.
Outside of like the non-numbered ones, like the 3DS ones.
Next question.
All right, next question is by Woof Woof. He asks, "Do you think a mainline game could get an anime?"
No, that's fucking stupid. Who cares?
I
do actually. Well, hold on. I assume he just means, or whatever their gender may be. I assume they just mean ST, correct?
Yeah, they're just talking mainline. I mean, I can maybe see mainline. Can definitely see Digital Devil Saga getting one.
I'm going to say this right now. 5 will have an anime, if not OVA, at least prequel around launch in Japan.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
I could see that happening. Atlus has been going harder on like all of their games need to have some kind of like anime thing, and I could totally see with 5 being their next big game, like really wanting to push that as best they can, and having like an anime OVA is a obvious tie-in like thing to churn out to promote the game.
Yeah.
Just make sure it's at least made by the people who made Daybreakers and not the people who did the P5 anime. Please and thank you.
Yeah. All right. Next question is by Leo Broly Alpha. He asks, "What are the pros and cons of Sega handling Atlus ever since, or Sega handling with Atlus ever since they bought them?" Pros, Persona 4 Golden on PC, cons, literally everything else.
I love that you think that like they had anything to do with that. No, dude. What on earth did Sega have to do with that coming out on PC?
That's just me guessing. Okay, so my answer is pros, absolutely nothing, cons, literally everything.
Okay, pros, they kept them from going into bankruptcy. And they made every game after 2013 financially viable. So that's a pro.
Okay.
They bought out the Index Corporation, so they did at least give them that as a pro. And I think there's nuanced cons you could have, but they're obviously going to be a little bit subjective. Like Sega Sammy as its parent company, there's nothing that Atlus has ever done that we look at and go, "Ugh, what a Sega move." Like, I have more moments where I'm like, God, could fucking Atlus please be like Sega? Like, yeah Sega releases the same fucking, like, 12 Genesis games.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but, like, Atlus, like, I mean, they didn't start doing, or I guess they didn't start not doing the stuff they should be doing until after Sega bought them.
Well, like, think about, though, like, even though, like, yes, in a post-Sega Sammy buyout world, that's when they got into DLC. When else were they going to do DLC on these systems that didn't have stores to download things from? Like, I don't think it's fair to really say that, especially because, like, look at games like here's a great example. Look at new stuff.
Golden had the store.
Golden had no DLC though.
Exactly.
Well, either way. Also, that's literally before the Sega Sammy buyout.
Well, yeah,
Golden
that's what I'm saying. Like, it was a game that they published before the Sammy buyout, and it didn't have any day one DLC or anything like that.
There would be just as much. I genuinely think there would be just as much DLC in a Sega-less Atlus as there is now. I don't think DLC is one of those things you can kind of throw under the bus for them. But like, I think there are just as like. I think Sega has a better history of doing things that fans like more in a post-Atlus buyout world than Atlus has done since then. Because, like, think about it in the sense of, like, oh, dude, look at stuff like Puyo Puyo Tetris 2. That's so cool. Like, honestly, that game shouldn't exist. But then, like, you look at things like, there are things that they do good, like Yakuza 7. But guess what? Yakuza 7, that still has shitty DLC. You can ignore it, just like Persona. But it's still, like, they still do both.
Well, okay,
but, like,
okay,
when is the last time an Atlus game came out and you were like, oh, dude, that's so un-Atlus? The only thing I can think of is Scramble, and that was literally made by another company.
I mean, well, okay, I guess a better way to put it would be on the Western side of things.
Because... Oh, well, God, like, in that case, then, if we're talking just Western, Sega actually super screwed Atlus West, aka Atlus USA. They're no longer publishing games. They're no longer, like, as open to trying new things as they used to be. Like, when is the last time Atlus/Sega West published a game in the West that was not internally developed by them?
Like 2017, it was whatever.
Sorry, not correct. I was trying to think of a word for incorrect. They actually made a very unsuccessful sequel to Citizens of Earth. I think it came out last year, called Citizens of Space. And they published that and did -0 marketing, and absolutely nobody really followed it.
I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, check it out. Nobody does. But yeah, so unless you're like a super big history nerd like me and looking out for that stuff, you're like gonna miss it all. But like, just think, like, in the golden days, we got stuff like whether you liked it or not, we got stuff like Rule of Rose, we got stuff like Conception, we got stuff like oh my god, I was just simping for this game really recently, like Lost Dimensions. Like, they used to publish all of these crazy games even a couple of years ago, like post Sega buyout, but they just don't do anymore now. Like, someone at Atlus West was stupid enough to say, hey, we're going to take this Arrow visual novel / SRPG trilogy. We're going to publish the second and third. No intentions of publishing the first. And it actually worked. And yes, they never actually did the first one. That ended up being done by NS America. But, like, they were willing to take risks. They were willing to do crazy shit. But, like, now Atlus West, like I mentioned before, when they're not a publisher and when they're not a localizer, they do nothing. Like, there's no power move that they do. The most that they've done is that they've basically e-bagged Sega enough to let them pay some third-party developer in Europe to make Catherine Classic, which, yeah, it's cool that Catherine's on PC, but guess what? They literally, like, sent that game out to die by releasing it a month before Full Body. Like, no one talks about Catherine Classic.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, nobody. Who would do that? About that game.
Only silly people.
Yeah, so like, at least, like, Gnarly, you're right. I think if you're just talking about in terms of Atlus Japan, they are such separated companies. There's, like, no real negative that you can kind of give to them without it sort of being like, whatever. I mean, just because they just get to act with such, like, hey, you guys know your moneymakers, do what you will. We assume you're not going to go financially, like, bankrupt. Like, they do keep things pretty tight over there in Japan. But yeah, in the West, it is definitely a bigger thing of like, no. When Sega made Sega West and Atlus West into one company, they literally, like, they just sucked all of the originality and, like, creativity behind them. Like, all of you guys can, like, pretty much agree, if this Atlus West we had now had the option to publish Demon Souls, there is not a chance in hell they would ever have done it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I actually saw one of the PR managers. He was like, he was asking people to stop DMing him about Demon Souls because Sony published that.
I will always give a shout out. I think it is so cool that Aram Jabari, who was in charge of Atlus USA for Demon Souls, now is in charge of Sony PR for Demon Souls on PS5. I think that's, like, the only Atlus tie is that they have the same PR person and nobody knows it.
Yeah. So, All right, we got one more question, and that is by Yeah. He asks, do you fear a Persona 2 duology remake due to the idea of the amount of change it could go through? Not really. I mean, I think if Persona 2 does get a remake, I don't think they're gonna overhaul it to make it like Persona 5.5 or whatever. I think they're just gonna remake it with 3D graphics and maybe the press turn combat, but that's about it.
Why do you guys think I keep assuming he. Why do you guys think immediately went to Fear? Why would Fear be the first thing of it
Atlus
would be really, really bad?
Sucks. They fucking suck at making video games. They fucking suck at remaking games. They can't do shit anymore. They're fucking terrible. Name a single good game that Atlus has made in the past fucking 3,000 years. They can't. They're fucking terrible. Every time they make a new game, every time they take a game that's already established, fucking good or bad, all they do is fucking add shit that does nothing. Nothing. And I'm fucking sick of everybody fucking simping for all these remakes. They do fucking nothing to fix the issues with the actual game. So if they remade fucking Persona 2, they'd probably just be like, oh, Persona 2 doesn't have enough fucking pedophiles. We'll put fucking a pedophile in Persona 2. And not actually fix the issues like the fucking easy-ass difficulty and the fucking grinding it takes to get through everything in the fucking game. Atlus is a fucking incompetent-ass company and they fucking suck. Holy shit. Name a single good game they've ever made. Name a single time they've remade a game that's good. Never, ever. They've never made a good fucking remake ever in their entire fucking life. They made Devil Survivor Overclock. They made 2 Record Breaker, and they made fucking Soul Hackers on the 3DS, and they have never made a good fucking remake of a game in their entire life. Nocturne Remastered trash. Full Body's trash. Royal's trash. Fez is trash. Portable's trash. Fucking Golden is bad.
Guys, imagine being this dumb. Imagine being dad-level dummy thick that he doesn't even know that Devil Survivor wasn't even made by Atlus internally. Man, that must suck.
It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. The point is when they remake their fucking
if you're going to be on the world's most inconsistently podcast, gnarly, no offense, the Megidolaon podcast, and you're going to be saying stuff like, oh my god, what a trash company for a trash game series for it. Like, you have to at least kind of see how it's hard not to make it look like you're a little bit of a hypocrite by saying, look at this trash.
No, shut up. Where's the hypocrisy in saying that? If Atlus didn't make the fucking only good remakes of fucking games, that proves my point even more. It proves it even more that they're fucking terrible at remaking their own fucking games. This is not a discussion. You're literally wrong if you try to fucking disagree with me. This is not an A and B conversation. I am literally right. They are fucking incompetent at making fucking remakes. They have never made a single remake of a fucking video game where I've gone, wow, this is a genuine improvement over the other game. Like, objectively. No! Never! They never add a single thing to the new fucking remakes where I've genuinely said, wow, I'm so glad that they added this. This adds a new experience. The fucking answer was terrible. Portable was pretty alright. I thought the female route wasn't that bad, but it's fucking bad still because it's Persona 3! It's literally just a less bad version with the same fucking issues. In fact, I think it's worse. The way it fucking presents itself is fucking terrible. I fucking hate the visual novel aspect. It takes an already fucking boring game and makes it even more boring. Royal is fucking like 90 billion% just the same game, and all the new content is at the end, and it feels rushed as fuck. It's literally should have been the standard of writing, and everyone's praising it because it's actually fucking good. Okay? Golden adds a dumb bitch that doesn't fucking matter. The most fucking annoying addition to a video game I've ever experienced. Strange Journey Redux is fucking terrible. Nocturne Remastered is terrible. Soul Hackers was fucking great. Devil Survivor Overclocked and Record Breaker were fucking great. And like you said, they didn't even make that game. They suck.
So I just gotta say, I can't believe you guys were acting like I was the special guest. I didn't know we were getting a guest appearance by Ben Shapiro on the podcast. That was impressive. For starters, obviously, the way you're acting is like, yeah, cool. If those remakes or re-enhancements didn't do anything for you, whatever. But like, it's all subjective. Like, just taking things like, yeah, you can be like,
in my eyes, I am the fucking Jesus Christ of this conversation. I'm Jesus. I am the.
Hey, that's okay because even
I'm
Jesus
the YHVH
was wrong
of this conversation. I am the YHVH of this conversation. They have never made a single good fucking remake. The Persona 2 remakes were stupid.
I mean, we wouldn't know because I haven't played the additional scenario in Eternal Punishment. I don't know how good that shit is. Persona 1 fucking remake sucked. Persona 2 PSP didn't fix any of the issues in the game.
All I know about the new scenarios in Eternal Punishment is that Cthulhu is in one of them, so that makes me want to play it.
Like the SMT Demon Cthulhu? What do they look like?
I loved the new added character of, I think it's really easy to look at something like Royal, and you can be like, man, look at Kasumi, like, she's just like such an Alex, what a dumb character.
Fucking worthless piece of shit character that provides nothing. Literally the Persona 1 manga that came out 6,000 years ago does her story fucking better.
I would at least like to say, instead of just pulling up that, you could be like, hey man, I really liked what they did with Marky. They've made a pretty no-nonsense character that I was pretty neutral with for like 80% of my playthrough, but the fact that I ended up enjoying the character so much, I was like, hey, that's pretty good. And like you said,
everything should be as good as Maruki in the original game. The fact that it's not, and the fact that Maruki... And the fact that Maruki is a standout, fucking, like, blessed example of perfect writing. And everyone thinks that's, like, the best thing about it, when that should be the standard. And it is the standard for a lot of the good Megaton games. The way he is presented, his ideology, his character, the way he's presented, his twist, his whole... Everything that happens, not to spoil anything, everything that happens in the story pertaining to Maruki, you know what I'm saying? Like, that should be the standard, and it is the standard. And the fact that everyone's praising like it's something good, it's like, congrats, you fucking gave me a pair of shoes that don't have a hole in it. Okay, cool.
I again, like, obviously you can say, like, all jokes aside for it, I genuinely believe their best re-release / enhanced port that they've ever done in recent memory is Encore, because it's like, hey, they literally fixed almost all of my problems with that game. Everything they added, is super, like,
by having it not be on the Wii U.
Well, no, like, I'm just even, like, saying of just stuff like, hey, I liked the new songs they added. I think the new songs they added were interesting. I think the way that they made the battle system deeper and faster was more fun.
They remove content and censor that version too?
Yeah, but hey, guess what? If your biggest point of criticism, like, honestly, and again, no offense, Charlie, if your biggest points of criticism for TMS is just, oh, they changed the outfits, or, oh, it's not TMS, it's not S&T Cross Fire Emblem, I immediately don't care, because guess what? You're not talking about the game that we played.
Doesn't the censored content remove, like, shit from the game entirely?
Well, it did.
No, you played the game, right?
Yeah, I did, but guess what? If you're looking at the experience of Tokyo Mirage Sessions as a whole, and are like, man, the fact that they changed the costumes really ruined the whole game for me. I don't think you were looking at what I got out of the whole experience that the rest of us
Nobody talking about costumes, though. We're explicitly talking about the fact that the game removes content by censorship.
I mean, it doesn't, like, make or break the game. I just think it's stupid.
Yeah, there is no gameplay with a capital G. There's no gameplay removed from the original Wii
the gameplay
version.
That they presented is fucking boring.
Well, again, then it just goes back to your point of, just because you're loud about being subjective doesn't change the fact that you're just being opinionated. Being the loudest in the room...
I'll be opinionated. It don't really matter. And I'm not the loudest in the room, bro. You've been talking over everybody the entire podcast.
That's very fine, but again, it goes back to the whole thing of, just because you are, like, saying, oh my god, this game is trash, this game is trash, this game is trash, you could be like, hey, there's, like, some genuinely good points. You could be like, yeah, like, there's a lot of things.
But my point is, you're wondering why this person is so confused and anxious and coming into the idea of a remake with fear, when what they've given us is not fucking good. There are some good things in the remake. Obviously, you're not a fucking baby. I don't need to, like, pat you on the back and go, I mean, Fez and Golden and Royal have some great things. The concern is that there's a lot of bad things, and the fact that Atlus does not address the bad things of the original game, and most times add more bad things, is the reason why this person is so skeptical and isn't asking this question, because the whole concept of them remaking something, when they fucked up Persona 1 PSP, they fucked up Innocent Sin PSP, I still don't know how Eternal Punishment PSP is, they fucked up Strange Journey, they fucked up Catherine, they fucked up Nocturne, even though that's not a remake, that's a remaster. I would say they fucked up Royal too, by making it not as new as they advertise it. I'd say it's misleading. And a lot of the new shit, like the spoiler character doing the spoiler thing, is already revealed in, like, most of the fucking trailers. Like, there's a reason. There's an obvious, clear reason to be skeptical and be nervous at the idea of a potential remake of a game that people most likely haven't fucking played and really want to replay, but it's not very accessible. It is so... it's in your face the entire time, but you're saying, like, why? There's no reason to ask why. It's obvious. They add so much shit that's not good, and they ignore a lot of shit that's bad. That's why. Like, it's you can see it as a not big issue, but it's still an issue, and it's a very obvious one that would lead somebody to be a little skeptical at the idea of a remake of a game. And that's why I'm so fucking annoyed by it. Like, why would you even question that? It's obvious. It's obvious the reason.
I more actually find it interesting that you find me questioning why they started with Fear is me kind of defending the remakes for it. But I mean,
it is you defending it, but it's you're just asking a question that's obvious. What's 2 + 2? What's 12 times 8?
Well,
11
again,
times 11.
Well, obviously, first off, I just have to say, I love the PSP remakes actually more than the original, but hey, that's just I had to throw that out there. On top of that, though, it just kind of goes to think of, yeah, for as many people who might be kind of skeptical or talk about it, I was more bringing up the fact of why they started with Fear, just because when I was looking back at Nocturne Remastered getting announced, I think a lot of us sort of had the same group thought mentality of like, oh, this is cool. They're re-releasing something. Like, we all want to play this on like current hardware. Like, for the most part, like, I don't know a lot of us who sort of saw this getting HD remastered announced as like, oh god, they're gonna fuck it up. And like, yes, now that it's out, and yes, that there are problems, it's very easy to sort of say that. But I was just wondering, like, for you guys, what you sort of think about that in the sense of like, are you guys now going to have this going forward? Like, because like, I think if like we wake up tomorrow and a Persona 2 Duology remake got announced, I think the majority of people, if you like poll everybody out there, would just be like, oh cool, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, but that's just everyone's excitement. Everyone's excited for Nocturne HD, but the moment like they fucking showed the gameplay footage, the first thing I said was Nocturne running at 15 FPS. It's cool to be excited. You can't gauge like just baseline excited. Of course, everyone's gonna be. People were fucking excited when Sonic Forces got announced. The game's fucking piece of shit. Worst fucking game ever made. People got excited when fucking, I don't know, fucking SMT Nocturne HD got announced. I was excited for like 2 seconds, and then the frame rate dropped, and then it showed Matador running at 5 FPS. Just because people are excited for it doesn't mean you can't be skeptical about it. I think when it comes to Atlus now,
we're talking about a game that we're probably not even gonna get.
Yeah, like literally. As excited I was for SMT5 when they showed that trailer, the first like official trailer in a long time, we went on a podcast, we didn't care. Like, we were more like, okay, what next? We're like, we didn't see no gameplay, we didn't see nothing. Like, as cool as it was, they didn't show us anything. So as excited as I am, I'm not excited no more. You fucking show me something else. I want to know what the story's about. I want to know what the like ideology is. I want to know what the gameplay looks like. I'm over it in the first 5 minutes of that thing coming out. I was over it. I wanted to see like gameplay shit, because like it's cool that it exists, but I'm more skeptical of what it looks like, how it's gonna play, how it's gonna look, like that. Because Apocalypse looked cool when the first trailer got dropped. I remember when I was fucking, I don't even remember how old I was, like 15, 16 when that first trailer dropped. I was so excited. I made news updates about everything. Game dropped, it was a piece of shit. I beat it in like 4 days. It was a piece of shit. Worst fucking game I ever played in my entire life. It's okay to be excited for it, but you gotta like be a little skeptical of it, especially with Atlus now. I think Apocalypse is the reason why I don't trust a lot of games that come from Atlus now. Persona 5 is the reason why I don't trust a lot of games coming from Atlus now. It can look cool. It's still a piece of shit. It's still Apocalypse at the end of the day. I don't really care. Also, Spencer, I wasn't actually yelling at you because I was mad. I was just doing it because I thought it was funny.
You guys should be on TV.
Yeah. I'm such a great actor, honestly.
All right.
Like that? I can just flip the switch like that. I'm like bipolar, except I'm not actually.
All right. So, yeah, you guys have anything else you want to talk about? This episode ended up being way longer than I was expecting.
Get out of town.
I mean,
there's probably a lot of shit to cut out. There's probably a lot of shit that you gotta cut out.
Yeah.
But
if that TV bit is out, you're in trouble, young man.
I'm not gonna cut out the TV bit, okay?
Leave that in. Mac looked hard for those TV specs.
All right, thank you guys for listening, and we will see you on the next episode.
Goodbye. Say bye, Gabby.
You guys don't do like you guys don't do like where you can find everybody and stalk them all?
I mean,
what if I
include
what if I discovered? How am I going to find? How we need to make Gab? Wait, what percentage are you at right now? Top
Hmm?
what?
What?
Yeah, what are we at?
And on
Eight?
OnlyFans.
Like 6.3, probably 5. Come on.
Bump it to 5. Everybody watching this episode, go to the description, bump it up to 5%. Come on.
I don't think
Hell
you
yeah.
can say 5% of what. I don't think you can say that.
The top 5%
Of
of the 1%.
yeah. Of
I think if we
OF.
like space it out, I think we're allowed to say it. So if
okay.
I'm like
How about
Say OF.
only
fans, but with the
fans?
PH, so it's persona related. You get
Okay.
it?
Yeah.
Ah. Shout outs to
That's what I
fan
should call
site.
it.
Well, I mean, we already said a bunch of curse words, so I think any reach we had is already dead. And I'm not gonna bother going through to bleep it all out.
You
Okay,
should.
so yeah,
Hey guys, this is the very last thing before we go. Go check out video Gnarly and I worked on with Filth. It's good.
There you go.
Yeah.
See?
Filthy made a video?
With us. He collabed.
well, he was in
Oh,
it.
you mean you made a video with them?
Yeah.
Diction, baby. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can
Good
I
video, I
pimp,
liked it.
Can I pimp your Fatal Frame video, please? The criminally underrated Fatal Frame 2 video. Yes, Spencer.
Are you talking to me?
I said Gav. Does no one hear when I say Gav? Because
You cut out.
Yeah, you actually did cut out.
You cut out.
Gab, please, we need to get more people to watch your Fatal Frame 2 video. It hurts.
It's okay. I've accepted that. Well, I mean, not every video is gonna do well, and like
I
Fatal
think
Frame is
so.
really niche.
Play Fatal Frame 5 on the Wii U, guys. Come on. Just play it.
Awful.
All right,
Well,
but yeah,
bye.
I'll have everyone's
I gotta
links in
pee.
the description. But yeah, thank you all for listening, and see you next month.
Bye-bye.
Japanese.
Bye.
I missed you, LaRue. We all miss you, baby.